Welcome back to Pax Mithdosica. Where we left off is the party has just left the Atlian Mountains. We have not found any glyphs, but we have discovered some things about the mountains. We've eliminated some locations, spoke to another party of judges to get some general ideas. They all seem to point towards the glacier as a likely stand-in, and we got some experience with traveling in the mountains, and we have some better ideas about what we may need to bring back. So, technically where we left off, you guys had just left the mountains, so you do need to spend another day walking back, but that is... What was that?
Nothing.
Okay. But that'll be largely uneventful. So, it is January 16th of 1281. 2 weeks into the lovely new year. It is winter, as we've discussed a couple of times, but in Mythos, winter is just like kind of cold. There's not really any snow or anything like that. The breeze coming off the sea is pretty strong between Mythos and Breton. But you guys come back to the city, bloodied but alive. This is kind of a freeform section. I don't know what your guys' plans are. Your objective for this is pretty broad. Just find a glyph ward. So, what do you guys want to do? All right, not all at once.
Granny can't speak.
Doesn't mean Dota can't speak.
Oh no, my RP's permanent.
I don't really have any preference.
Well, then I'll ask a simple question. How long are we spending in Mythos?
Not a lot of time. We just need to get rations, I think. That's the only reason we came back.
That was the big reason, yeah. Didn't you want to get a long rest so you could level up?
Nah, we don't need that.
I only asked because Yogi
I
mentioned
think we
it to
should
me at the
definitely
end of
take
the
a long
last
rest.
session. Welcome back.
I think we should definitely take a long rest because
take a long
I, for
rest.
one, basically out of spells.
That would definitely be important to consider, yeah.
Nah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm also pretty.
Unless
low
you
on
want me to be
spell slots.
restricted
I
to the
can
level of a
remember.
third level wizard in spells.
I mean, do you guys even really need a wizard? You survived without one for so long.
True, you tell me.
I'm also out of lay on hands.
You even need a lay on hands? You survived without one for so long.
Yes, we do.
Do you even need
This
3
guy
out of the
wants us
5
to
members
die.
of your party? You survived without them for so long. Okay, yeah, we long rest it is. Then there is a couple of things to update you guys on. You guys will be staying at Permius's estate in the capital, or I guess technically the Imperial family's property in the capital. Research-wise, I think I told you this at the end of last session, Hecko. Let me know what's your progress number at?
You didn't tell me anything last session.
Okay, then you should add
Of
1 to your
research.
progress.
Oh, okay. So now I'm at 13 out of 20.
Okay, I think your research assistant is just gonna get you there all on his own. To be
Eventually.
honest, he's an
I
impressive little
personally
guy.
have not much time to do it, so
Yeah. Well,
certainly appreciate it.
there is some official news. The Empire's many heralds announce that the brave martyrs of Slava. We got to move to the world map for any of this shit to make
Uh-oh.
sense. The brave
When you say
martyrs.
martyrs, it's already bad.
No, it's a victory, I swear. Okay, so let me go ping Slava. So the rough front line, the very rough, like there's no actual front line to be clear, but the rough front line in the War on the Plains is the Amur River. This is the place where you guys did the bridge battle. Lubel is obviously the place that you guys were at when you went to Ostatic. Like this, that's roughly the front line in the south at least. However, there were still Mythdosian garrisons clinging on as deep as Slava. Slava, for instance, was under Mythdosian control. Kutol also had a small Mythdosian garrison. Kutol is still clinging on. Slava has died to essentially the last man. A small pocket of survivors were teleported out back to Mythdosia proper, and a victory parade is planned for later in the week. the men who died are all being beatified as holy warriors of Aurelian soul, and it is being remembered as a glorious Pyrrhic victory against the Tebrashan princedoms.
Sorry, what was that word?
Pyrrhic?
No, before that.
Glorious?
Something a fight?
Oh, beatified. It's
never heard
a
that in
level
my life.
below sainthood.
Okay, I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, now they'll never be made saints because they didn't do anything supernatural, but this is basically just a note from the Aurelian Soul Church that these guys all did a really good job because they died to the last man defending it. Well, except for the ones that were teleported out, but the rest of them all died defending it.
Wait, can you beatified? Can you what's the noun for that? Like
The noun.
They're not a saint, but they're
I think in the Catholic Church you would just call them. All right, we're googling beatified. Oh, you're right. What would the noun be? That I think like blessed, just something like that, or like a holy. That's a great question.
I mean to derail. I'm just
Beati is the answer. You'd call them a beati, or you could just call them blessed, because that's the much more common version.
okay.
Less silly sounding thing.
Yeah, blessed is a lot more. Yeah, so the story circulating through the capital's victory parade later that week, an entire garrison fought to the last man, and the last Mithdosian holdout east of the Amur River, which is Kutul, has negotiated their surrender, and all of the men will be able to go back to Mithdosian territory, but all of their equipment, all of the locals who cooperated with them, they're all being left in Kutul. Now that is the secondary story. The big story, of course, is that all the men died in Slava. They went down fighting. Yeah. The secondary story is that the entire city of Kutul has been surrendered to the Tebrashan princedoms. Yeah, especially considering it's the dead of winter, and no action is going to happen on the plains for a couple of months. So
Do we have any info on how the fuck this happened?
Maybe so more broadly, like these two places have been under siege since the horrific Second Battle of Slat-Batosk. That battle is like, it basically broke the legions, and so since then, they've been under siege. As for how they were stormed, they'll tell you about Slava all day. They'll talk about the mass fireballs that were flung against the walls, sections of walls were disintegrated, like the entire magical might of the Tebrashan princedoms was brought on this singular fortress, and they held, and they held. However, this fortress has changed hands 3 times in the War on the Plains, and that fortress is a crumbling wreck. And so all that was left to defend was the central keep. They detonated everything they could, like destroyed cannons they'd stolen from the Tebrashans. They did everything. The Centurion went down fighting to the death, and the last couple of men were teleported out for their sacrifice. As for Kutul, 0 details are provided.
Who was the mage that was stationed there that teleported them back? Is that known?
There was no mage station there, but it is known who did it. Let me go find the name. High Arcanist. Oh, High Arcanist Pacentia.
Pacentia?
Yeah, she teleported in, teleported out. Just boom, boom. Because obviously the military, especially when there is no action going on elsewhere in the plains, can basically look at these engagements 24/7 and get live updates. When there's multiple things happening, it's too chaotic. But in this case, the eyes of all of the Department of War was on this one tiny fortress. Yeah. So that's what's happening on the War in the Plains. It'll probably keep simmering. It's winter is a slow time. No other news from the north. Everything's just kind of sitting. So, how do you guys want to spend the next week? If no one can think of anything in specific, we can just talk about some broad mechanical stuff. I believe everyone in the party level's up, right?
No.
Nope.
Oh, okay. Damn. Well,
Neither
at least
do I.
2 people do.
I'm slightly short.
So you can do your leveling up now. Probably should, since that's going to take you a second. Also, you can, do all the long rest stuff. You can increase your hit dice by half. You can roll any hit dice you need to recover. You can, replenish all the resources, etc., etc. We can also start talking about what you want to bring back into the mountains with you. I think this first foray was a good little learning opportunity. to figure out, like what we need to bring.
Are you
So,
rolling hit dice?
because you guys are taking a long rest, and that's how we do healing. How have you been doing it?
Well, a long rest you just heal to full, no?
No, we've been doing the alternate slow healing rules.
I thought that's only on short rest. Oh, I didn't. I guess I just been full healing on long rest.
Admittedly,
My bad.
Admittedly, I know this is written in the rules document. I also may have forgotten about it for the last 10 sessions, but I do know that's what we're doing because I remember that's in the rules document.
Well, my bad then.
Okay, it's all right. I forgive you, especially because Grania can use healer kit on you every single day, so you're getting to full health. It's more so the hit dice angle of it.
Oh, how many hit die are we getting back? Half, right?
So yeah, you get half rounded up when you take the long rest, and then you can spend obviously any number of them because you're doing 7 short rests consecutively. That is huge. Wait, is that your max HP, Yogi?
Yeah, that was HP.
Okay, you already had.
Huge.
Wait, you're back on top with the highest max HP in the party.
Let's go.
Congrats.
Yeah,
Was
we're rolling for
HP?
HP.
You
Well,
can choose.
yes,
is the
we are.
answer. Yeah, but
Oh,
I mean,
well,
if
that
you've
goes-
already
Just
been
high
rolling,
roll.
yeah, if you've already been rolling, you should. Keep
No,
it.
fuck, because I've gotten a low roll the past like 4 level
Well, that
ups,
means
and
you're
it's
due.
kind of fucking me.
You're due.
If you're on a fighter,
Yeah.
you should always. I feel like on a fighter and a barbarian, you should always take the detail.
Well, yeah, you should always roll so that you get the higher number. Yeah.
Yeah, genius. And that's why great swords are
is
worse
it gonna
than
click?
great axes.
Yeah, that's
guess not.
literally true. Yeah.
No, it's not.
Someone clearly is not blessed by the god of luck.
No, I'm really not.
Gonna be me.
It doesn't want to roll.
It probably does. It's just
I say
you
and
know,
then immediately
just
roll a
Syrian internet.
perfect. Okay, yeah.
No, it would have rolled by now. It's just your hit die, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Plus
'cause
your
that's-
con mod,
All right,
obviously.
let's see here.
That's not bad.
Well,
It's
it's
below
only
average.
slightly
It
worse
is
than
below
average, which
average,
is why you
but-
should always take average.
No. Okay. That's crazy. This guy's crazy. Mods. Kill
No,
him.
I'm just not a risk. I'm just not a huge risk taker.
I know. That's why you're crazy. This is a
Huh?
gambling household. Okay.
All right.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry if I have sinned.
Yeah,
Great
but we don't
outcome.
gamble with money. We just
Vanessa.
gamble with our soul.
Well,
with
yeah,
our
of
hearts. Okay, so
Alright.
I'm assuming you guys are going to deal with all the level up stuff. Zednius, or I guess
Already dealt
Yogi,
with.
since you have been the
rolls.
true, since you've been essentially the pack mule of the party, what do you think the party should bring on their second foray into the mountains?
I got no idea how many rations we need, but we need a lot.
Well,
50 lasted
We
us
brought
like
like
3
50
hours
last
or
time, and that
something.
lasted us 10 days.
Well, yeah, I mean, you guys know the scale of the mountains now. You know how long it takes to travel places. You know that it takes 2-3 days minimum to leave the mountains. If you get deeper, it may take longer. So you have to add that at the front and back of your journey. So
Yep.
how long do you want to be in the mountains for?
I have a solution to this.
Yeah.
I knock on Zednius's door
Gulp.
randomly at some point throughout this.
Oh my god.
Yes.
You see behind me I genuinely have no idea how big this would be. Probably a pallet of rations, as in 100.
How much does that weigh?
200 pounds.
200 pounds.
How much does the bag hold?
I think it's 800? Question mark? We are starting to, I know we're reaching the upper limit. It's 500.
500.
And I think you already have a bunch of shit in there, right?
A bunch of small stuff. I don't know how. I never put the weight on any of this stuff because some of it is people gave
Okay,
me.
I'm doing
and
math very rapidly.
Yeah, I usually just make a sheet for it and give it like 500 max carry weight.
That would be a way to do it. Currently, you're carrying around 100.
Okay.
Though I will say, over almost 100 and... Oh, it'd be 130 pounds. And then 110 of that is the rations 55 parentheses horse. So,
Wait, Hakon.
yeah.
I want to say
Oh,
I feel like we've had this question. I've had this asked question before, but
Okay.
just to make sure, there was a reason why I don't have tiny huts. Was it that
Yes.
it was not available?
Yes, correct. It is it was invented by a specific mage in the West and is not widely available.
Yeah.
Is there any way to get access? Do I even know it exists?
Yeah, I mean, so there's a number of spells that are like this. So Private Sanctum is like this, Tiny Hut, Acid Arrow, like Melf's Acid Arrow, in this case, Reshep's Acid Arrow, Bigby's Hand. There's a huge list of these where if you want them, they are known to the magical community. That news typically gets out within like a year of rediscovery, but to get them, you need to either get the person who rediscovered it or someone they entrusted with their spellbook. So luckily for you, Vondai was not particularly stingy with his spells. In fact, he taught almost his entire spellbook to a wizard in Cavaranth, who in turn taught it to basically every Archmage of the West. But that means you still need to convince an Archmage of the West to give you, proprietary spells.
You said that is what's her name? Pasentia.
Pasentia, yeah.
Is she in town?
She is in the war camp at Kujva with the legions.
Oh, I thought because of the teleporting, she is back. Okay, is there any Archmage that's... I guess I'm just going to the Department of Magic.
Yeah, I mean, so they'll tell you the same thing they told you, I think, like 3 sessions ago, which is the entire chain of command of the Department of Magic is currently either on the plains or has self-volunteered for judge duty. So the highest ranking member of the Department of Magic nearby would be Deputy Autarch... Let me go find him.
Yeah, but he's not high enough on the ladder to have access to it, right?
No, he is. He's a High Arcanist, and he's the Deputy Autarch of Magic. He's the second highest ranked person in the entire Department of Magic. He's just currently in the Atlian Mountains, so you'd have to go find him.
Fuck.
But he would probably be able to both contact
Alex.
anyone you wanted and has almost every spell the Empire has access to. Yes, Ethan.
Am I allowed to second wind spam during long rests?
I don't see why not. The short rest feature.
Alright.
I mean, it's the same as like a healer's kit. You can
Cool.
spam that every single day. Yeah, makes sense to me.
Okie dokie. So that's a D10 plus 13.
But also, High Arcanist is not an official title granted by any body. It's just like a denotation that someone can cast very high level magic. So Pasentia and Aurelius are the only 2 widely known High Arcanists. There are other ones, but those are the 2 that are most public facing because they have...
Like, would I be qualified as a High Arcanist?
What's your highest level spell slot?
7th?
Yes, you would.
Is that like a title? How do you get the title?
It's informal. Like I said, there is no body that grants it.
Okay, from now on I'm calling myself High Arcanist.
Based. Do so.
You're gonna have a hard time convincing the party to call you that.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, it's
It's Dr. Corvus.
Exactly.
once a long time ago it actually meant something, but in the Empire it no longer means anything. It's just honorary
It doesn't
title.
mean anything. Yeah, sure. But
Well, because like
You're just
Pasentia
jealous.
is also a
Right. You can
proconsul
do
of the
that.
Empire, which matters.
yeah, I know. Same way with like my judge title.
I'm gonna demand you call me I'm gonna demand you call me Centurion from here on out.
I can do that. No problem.
Not only do you guys have 5-word long names, now you're gonna add on titles in front of those 5-word long names.
Well, I'm only gonna do it for like that the person who like the last session was like wanted us to introduce ourselves formally. I'm just gonna pull it for that type of shit,
Okay.
not for like informal party talk.
Yeah. Well,
No, you will call me Lord Judge Centurion Maximus.
Those are all
You will.
accurate titles.
No, it's actually you forgot. It's not Maximus. It's Maximus something Titus Bologna or something, right?
Maximus Titus Gaius
Ignia.
Ignia. There's no last name. Yeah, Maximus Titus Gaius Ignia.
Yeah, that's
I
it.
thought it was
Yeah.
Bologna, but yeah.
Zenius something.
I'm not a 5-name
fuck.
Chad.
I can't
Perusian,
remember.
Perusian, yeah.
Tullius Fabricia Perusian. He's not a Perusian.
I don't have Tullius
I
yet,
thought-
unless that was... Yeah, he never gave me
Do
Tullius.
I
so
have
don't
any
think.
titles or to denote my relation to the Emperor or no?
Well, that's in your name.
Well, you've
All of your
Perusian,
guys'
no?
names are titles.
Oh,
That's
when
why-
did Tullius get
Oh,
added to
I
my
didn't-
name?
I think that
Did you add
happened when
that?
he. No, I think that happened when he gave you Tortio Poste. I think is when he gave you his name.
What the
Hmm.
fuck is Tortio Poster?
It's the manor, the estate that Zednius was granted.
Oh.
So what is Gallius? I also had Gallius at one point. No,
Gallius is.
that's Tullius's. Hold on.
I think Gallius is just the name of your father.
That's Tullius's name actually.
Oh, okay. Oh, is that
I'm
his
trying to
family
find.
name?
Yeah, I should have one more name, I think, but I don't remember.
I don't think so. Oh, I mean, you should have a family name, but you are not
We're
a part of
orphans,
his
so-
family yet. So you'd have your whatever your peasant family name is, but you probably wouldn't use that because it'd be instantly known to be so.
Oh, I thought since he's formally adopted, he would have.
Well,
the
he's
full
not
name.
fully formally adopted. He's in a quasi awkward state because, like, for
Limbo.
instance, he's not a part of the imperial clan. So he's like 75% of the way
Wait,
there.
I'm Varusian, right?
Yes, but
Isn't
you're
that-
not Perusian instead of Fabrician.
Ah.
Yeah. Anyways, that was a lot of names and titles. Supplies. So we have a 200-pound crate of rations acquired from the Department of War at 0 pence.
Oh, I just had those.
That's insane. So you should probably unify, honestly, Zenius, you should probably unify all the stuff that's in the bag of holding. I don't need you to keep a live count. I just need you to figure out what the weight is now. Because if you already have 57 rations on your seat, plus another 100.
We
So-
ate the 57. I
Oh,
just
okay.
never. I updated it on the sheet, but not the.
Yeah,
I updated
I'm
it
gonna-
on the
Okay.
I'm
bag
gonna
of
get
holding
rid of the
part.
5 on my sheet, and you can add them if you want.
Okay.
But
Well,
I'm
yeah,
just
I
not
think what
gonna
we'll do
travel
here,
with
just
those.
for all of our sanity, is to put Zednius/Yogi will just be the ration carrier. So, Blake, do you have any rations? I'm gonna ask you
I-
next, Doda.
Don't think I do, but I will double check.
Okay. Hecko, you said you had 5?
Yes. I have
Okay.
5.
Ethan, how many do you have?
Add another 10 on top of the
Okay,
100.
so we have 15 plus 100, 115. Doda, do you have any rations? Plus champ?
Good talk.
No. Granny is mute. He's gonna send us sign language in the group chat.
He's just throwing gang signs.
Hey, Alex,
Okay.
is it the first of the month yet?
That passed 17 days ago, so yes.
Dad, can
Okay,
I get my stipend yet?
His internet just died. Okay, Yogi, you have 115 rations. Remove all rations
Okay.
and then add that many.
Yeah.
Is there any other tools other than food that we think we could have benefited from while in the mountains?
Yes.
Such as?
Doggone climbing kits.
I
snowshoes.
cut out. Ethan, add 1,000 gold.
It's a glacier, right? So like
Huge! I shall deduct it from your owed sum.
You were saying Hecko, Glacier?
yeah, we're going to a glacier, so we might want crampons.
Yeah, so there are winter weather gear. It would be 12 pounds, so it'd be, and this would be you can't put this in the bag of holding. You need to wear it. So, I mean, you could put it there temporarily, but you need to basically be mentally prepared to carry this yourself. We're talking heavy winter coats. We're talking crampons. We're talking ropes to tie you guys all together. All of this, we're just going to kind of summarize as winter weather gear. That'd be 12 pounds per person. So if we want to do that, which we should if we're planning on spending more than a single freezing night on the glacier, you need to make sure
we need
you have...
firewood.
Yeah, firewood could definitely help, for sure.
We kind of pull on semi-hold. If there's a definite, if I go to the Department of Magic, they tell me that basically they don't have anybody on hold right now that could get me the scroll, like even a scroll for the spell, so I could copy it, right?
No, the scroll repository in Mythos is still public, like still open.
Yeah, but does a scroll repository have it doesn't have the tiny hut. Even
No,
though
no, yeah,
people
yeah.
in Mithdosica now have access to it, none of the idiots thought it was necessary to put it into
Well,
the
you say
Soul
people in
Repository.
Mithdosica, you mean like one person, if that, maybe.
Pessentia, the other
If they have it, you don't even know that they have it. I said they may have it.
Oh, I thought I thought I thought it's
No,
like,
no, no. They
known.
may have it because they have contacts in the West.
Okay.
But yeah. So with all that said, then everyone should add winter gear, or like winter equipment for 12 pounds on their sheets. I'll let you do that. And then
Does that include clothes?
that does include clothes. Yeah. This is basically a catch-all for our sanity.
How do you calculate your weight limit again?
You what about weight?
What's your weight limit again? How do you calculate that?
It's your strength score times 5.
Okay, I am overweight with that.
How much weight is 115 rations?
That times 2.
Times 2?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then what do you want to leave behind, Dota?
My dagger, my Sidolian fine clothes.
Maybe your branch of Scalatha.
No, I think I'm
sure.
gonna have to drop some
Your-
Brewers kits. Too many.
It is funny.
Would any of you guys benefit from a +1 medium armor of some kind?
I wear studded leather, but I don't know. That would be.
Yeah, that's light.
I
No.
don't think.
I mean, it's
I would lose a lot of AC.
Yeah.
I can't even wear armor.
I have a +2, I think.
Alrighty.
let me. Alex, do you know the AC of a breastplate off the top of your head?
I do, it's 16.
15, no?
I think it's 16 because he has a +1 breastplate.
Oh, if it's +1, then it's 16. But yeah.
Okay, I am underweight now. We're good.
Yippee.
Well,
it's
breastplate
14.
is 14 plus.
Yeah,
it'd
it's
be
14.
15.
That
I
was
have a
14
+2.
plus dex. Plus
It's 14
dex
plus
up to.
Dex 2. Yeah.
Yeah, the dex is the maximum is to a maximum of 2.
Yeah. That
So
technically,
if you had
I think
two,
would,
if you had at least a +2 dex, that'd get you to 17.
yeah, 17 would be the max AC. But keep in mind, they need medium armor proficiency, which I think is only you, Primius, and Zednius. And Zednius already has better. Primius wears light, and you wear heavy.
Alrighty.
Alrighty. So I think that's any other equipment. I will say, I'll pass along Chowder's recommendation. He says buy a compass.
Oh my god! Thank God! Thank you, Chad.
Oh yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yep,
Buy a
that's a
compass.
Okay, I will say between sessions,
That's
I
a
actually
good
went
idea.
and found my technology document I wrote years ago about the pricing on like relatively rare things, such as a compass. A handheld compass they do exist. There are 2 categories of them. There are the modern ones. These are made of glass. They use basic ferrous stuff. They are compasses. There's also archaic ones, which are essentially common magical items, but incredibly rare because no one knows how to make them anymore. The main difference between these 2 is that the first one can be easily damaged. The second one, because it's a magical item, is indestructible. And when I say easily damaged, I mean like if you make a bad tumble, we're rolling to see if the compass breaks because they are ridiculously fragile. So, which are we going to look into?
Magic.
Magic, okay.
Why
is
not
my
both?
guess.
You technically could look into both, yeah. You'll
Yeah, I guess
find
just-
that
yeah,
normal
it's-
compasses can be
Yep,
sold
fine.
at basically every single harbor master's office for around 100 gold. And the magical ones in Mithdosica, there are actually some. This is not like a high demand war item, so it's just not like empty like everything else is. Obviously, land navigation benefits from a compass, but they're not doing like anything close to modern land navigation. They're moving
Point
a
to
much larger
point,
form.
yeah.
They're moving in much larger formations. They're moving, it's not quite the same. Also, it's way too expensive to give to a normal soldier. So the price for a magical one will be 1,000 gold minimum. That's if you want to buy it outright. If you want to go through the bidding process, you could get it a lot cheaper.
How long
Well,
does
you
the
could
bidding
think-
process take?
Yeah, I was gonna say how much is the bidding process?
Random roll.
couldn't it also be more than 1,000 gold?
Like,
Good
Could,
thing
it could
Maximus
absolutely
just
be more than
came in
1,000.
contact with 1,000 gold.
Maximus, you're the one who's
are we
most
talking
likely.
days or weeks here?
We're talking potentially
Depends on the
months.
Oh,
Oh,
I believe the auction for
Um,
your teleport scroll took 6 months.
well, that's not an option.
yeah, it took something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
I'm
Now,
just gonna
obviously,
go
this is
drop.
cheaper,
I'm just
but-
gonna go drop. I'm just gonna go drop 1,000 gold on a magical compass.
Okay, well then, Maximus, you walk into the Department of Magic, you go to the Magical Acquisitions office, you give them, I'm doing math in my head, 50 pounds, 50 gold coins is a gold coin purse. 1,000 would be,
I'm gonna pay for it in. I'm gonna pay for it in bullion.
yeah, I mean, we're talking like, yeah, we're getting to the scale where that's the most economical way to transfer the funds. Funnily enough, this doesn't actually apply because I think you just have bullion already, right?
Yep.
Okay, you
What
do.
the hell is
I
bullion?
have
the reason
7,000 gold worth of bullion.
Yeah, I thought you did. The reason I asked is because technically converting gold coins into bullion, it falls under the Money Changers Guild. But luckily you already have the bullion, so it's fine.
Ripozos, I have it already.
So yeah, you pay them, and what you receive is a small little circular object. It is made of kind of grayish stone. It has one side is very smooth. It has like little grip marks into the side. It's for a hand that's a bit larger than yours, a bit lankier than yours. And then on a single face, it has a kind of, it doesn't open. It's a object. There's like no flip up. There's just a smooth like obsidian finish on one side, and on that side you see a little depiction of the sun, of the moon. These things are stagnant. They're not moving or anything like that. And then you see a single line which points north. The little line is a tiny, tiny little piece of red metal.
Oh. I'll look up at the magic person I'm interacting with.
Yeah, it's a woman in her 30s.
Is this enchanted, or is this something to do with the red metal?
Oh, it's enchanted. It was recovered from the elvish ruin on the Isle of Galadrim entitled Scare the Katha.
Bless you.
Oh,
Can't be saying bless you to foreign languages.
damn it, dude, that's hilarious. I thought of that. Yeah, I'm stealing that.
Stealing, you just paid them $1 million.
No, he meant my
Oh,
No, I meant his joke.
Bless you.
Yeah.
I was like,
He's not
brother.
stealing $1,000.
Yeah, what a steal. Oh, man. A piece of elven trash for $1 million.
Yeah, I know.
What could it cost? 10,000 gold?
Oh, man. Okay, anyways, yeah. It's an elven compass. Works without fail. It's literally indestructible. So, there you go.
Can you add that to my sheet, Alex? I am physically incapable of doing so.
Yeah, I can.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, he said he can.
That problem is solved. He said he can. That he's going to.
That is
The delay
not
makes
what
it
Echo
funny.
sounds like.
No,
Wait, do you
actually
need me
is.
to remove the gold bullion as well?
No, I took care of that.
Okay. All right. Last call for any equipment, anything you'd like to do in the city, any questions you have?
Yep.
Okay.
I'd like to since I feel like whenever I do this, I'm just gonna get be like, fuck, I can't do it right now. I guess I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna put it like a formal inquest for conversing to Placentia.
Okay. At the
So that,
beginning of the
at
week.
some-
Yeah, at the beginning of the week,
At
you can
some-
send a formal inquest into the Department of Magic to meet with High Arcanist Placentia regarding access to spells from the Western Continent.
Yep.
Cool.
And and the rest of the week I'm studying. I wanna my spell.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Ethan, you were gonna say something?
Yes, may I suggest some shovels and picks? Just general digging tools.
Wise. That would have been very helpful.
And firewood. We forgot firewood.
Well, since Yogi has to carry all this shit, I'm gonna quickly tell him the weights of some of these things. Yogi, a shovel weighs 5 pounds. a pickaxe weighs 10. A knight of firewood, I think, weighs like a lot.
Firewood's heavy.
But how many of those do you guys want to? Okay, wait. Cubic feet. Okay. Okay. So we're talking 15 cubic feet. Okay, and then the firewood, dry wood weight by cubic foot.
Jesus.
45
not
pounds per cubic
compacted.
foot. Obviously, yeah. I mean, so we're okay. You're not gonna be able to carry firewood. You're cooked. I mean, you can get enough to start a
Wait.
fire, but not keep it going through the whole night.
Okay, fair enough.
Anyways, Zednius, how many shovels and pickaxes would you like to carry?
I got no idea, man. What is the?
I was thinking 2
Huh.
each.
I just gotta do some managing here, because how much does a bedroll weigh? Also
7 pounds.
7. Oh, I gotta get my calculator app out or something. Mithril shield.
Oh man.
Wait, you said
Awesome.
what? What was that last thing?
He said mithril
A
shield.
mithril shield.
His abacus.
I have that back. You can take that off.
I think he's talking about his mithril
Okay,
shield.
I think it was mine. Yeah.
Oh, do you have one? Ah, shit, my bad.
Dude, Zednius is like, he really should be the off tank. He has like 21
I forget he
AC.
uses a
He has
shield.
that mineral and a shield and a red metal breastplate. He's like actually more well equipped than Prometheus is.
Hey, wait a
Oh, I have
minute.
2 mithril shields.
Like unironically,
We're gonna need to have a talk about that, bud.
well, he like it's actually
Awesome.
so funny because whenever we picture him, at least I picture like decadent boy in like robes or whatever. But the reality is he's like a battle-hardened fucking like warrior with a magical sword and shield.
Who's also like 6'5".
Yeah,
tall,
6
with
foot
crazy
tall,
shit.
like highest HP in the party.
Yeah, he's
Yeah. And
I
it's
tried
funny.
to get in their last fight, and
You
then
did, you did.
everyone died before I got there.
That's true. That's
Or
true.
the automaton.
Yeah. It is funny how you come completely unscathed out of a lot of these fights.
Yeah, it's good.
Also, you
It's
have
by
your orb.
design.
I mean, the orb is fucking. It's incredible. What can you say?
It's Orban time.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, while Yogi does
True.
spreadsheets and dragons, we can do what people are doing over the week. Corvus, you can add 2 progress to your research as
Wait.
you.
Quick, I'm sorry to sidebar you once more.
Sure.
Cantrips, can wizard in your world learn cantrips into the
They
spellbooks? Or
unfortunately
is this like a purely
cannot.
per level thing?
Cantrips
Can I
are.
Can I
Yeah.
swap out cantrips?
Yes, I would let you do that. So the way that cantrips work magically is very similar to how signature spells work when you get to really high level as a wizard, where these are not spells in your spellbook, these are just in your mind. Like these are physically, like you've memorized every single piece of this down to like the letter. And so you can really only have so many of those in your head. But yeah, you can swap them out. Now, yeah, I think a week would be enough time to swap out one of them.
Yeah, I'd like to swap out my frostbite for create bonfire.
That would 100% be in the Imperial scroll repository. Actually, wait. Since you have access to the
that-
Imperial scroll repository, you can do it in a day because they have those scrolls that are written for like babies.
Oh,
I think.
In that case, I'm doing 2.
Let me go look at
In
that.
that case, also I'm getting Produce Flame and getting rid of Toll the Dead.
I don't think. Wait, why did you have Toll the Dead in the first place? Can wizards even take that?
Yeah.
That's crazy. I straight up thought that was a cleric spell. Okay.
No.
So you're taking Produce Flame and Create Bonfire?
Yes.
That makes sense.
I'm gonna swap out Chill Touch for something. I just need to find out what real quick.
Well, you're a
Well,
warlock,
you're a
not a wizard,
warlock.
unfortunately.
Oh, it doesn't work. Am I?
I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry. You're gonna
I'm
have to ask
sorry.
the flattering one.
Yeah, you're gonna have to hit up Scalapa.
All some cantrips.
Is it just when you level up you get to swap them out then?
I think that is accurate for the
Yes.
warlock class. I'd have to go read it, but that sounds right to me.
You could go see if there's another brooch thing that I have. Dark Shard Amulet. You can go see if there's another one of those.
Yeah, let's just get a rare magic item. You
A
can
what?
see if we have another one lying
Easy.
around.
When we did the magic item bidding, there was a really cheap one because it was warlock only locked. and I got it.
Okay,
doesn't
so technically this is an
Much-
optional rule, but basically, Dota, at whenever you get an ability score improvement, you can swap out a cantrip.
Cringe.
So, well, warlock moment.
What?
Okay,
Warlock
so
moment.
oh yeah, Yogi was doing his sheet management. Are you done with that, or?
No, I'm still going.
Okay, then we can continue the thing I was going to do, which is, Corvus, you can add 2 spell research. You and Titius, well, mostly, I'll be honest, you and Titius have done equal work on this project. And a lot of this week is not so much you spell researching, it's fixing errors in Titius's work. It's not that, like, it's just he hasn't killed enough people, essentially, is basically what it comes down to. You've burned a lot more people alive than he has. For example, like he has this very elaborate step which functions. It makes the spell would work. It's just that it would take longer than an action, and that is utterly unacceptable for a spell. That is like 6 seconds is the minimum. That ideally you'd want one that's even quicker, but complex invocations like this always take 6 seconds or more. But so you have to basically fix his notes and say, no, we need a simpler gesture. So you spend time, kind of spooling him back to basics. You also learned that he has made 0 progress on the wards. So basically, everything I've told you about the wards, I don't know how much it's covered in your notes, but the Empire as a whole, not just Titius, but like the entire Department of Magic has reached a block. The last 3 subcircles are functionally untranslatable. And the overall circle is way too confusing. You guys got pretty lucky that a couple of them were similar to modern stuff, but yeah. That progress has essentially stalled. So, for everyone else, what skills would you like to train during this week of downtime?
Stealth.
Okay,
Renia.
2 to stealth.
Grania will teach Maximus.
What about me?
Yay!
Grania hates you.
Based.
Incredibly based. Shit, I didn't mean to do that.
All right, so 2 progress to sign language. Grania, what are you doing? Are you training any skills, or are you just vibing?
Let me double check because I forget what skills I was learning. We'll get some more law teachings done.
Okay, yeah, you spend this week like visiting in on a law class on something that's very relevant in the Empire, which is a wartime martial law, which the Empire has been under for.
No way.
It's 1275, 6 years. It's been under martial law for 6 years.
God damn.
Which suspends all citizen rights to trial if it's deemed to be involved with the war effort. So you get to learn all about that.
How much progress is it? 2? Or what?
2. Yeah, 2, because you have someone with expertise is training you, so it's 2 progress. If you're training on your own, it'd be 1. And then lastly,
What is
Yoda. Yeah. What is your survival modifier?
+7.
Huge, we're tied now.
you're saying, Yogi?
what are Jabberwock eyes used for?
They are giant crystalline orbs that I believe can be used for either enchantment or for, I think it's the confusion spell or something like that. I know that they're either A, can be consumed, or B, they can be used enchanted into a magical item. Also, they're worth a lot of money, which is, I think, what you were originally going to do with them. You just need to find a wizard willing to pay for it, essentially, because it's a material component.
Okay. How much does that weigh?
Oh, they're really heavy. They're like,
Uh-oh.
I want to say it's like 15 or 20 pounds. I could technically rewatch the VOD, but it's too much effort. I think it's like 15, 20 pounds, though. They're really big. They're also like crystalline, not fleshy.
Okay. I've got like less than 100 pounds left.
Okay.
So
What skill do you want to train during your long rest?
I don't know. I was only trained in sign language, and Grania doesn't want to teach me this week. So
Edge. Maybe just nothing then. I mean,
I can tutor a sign language. I'll pay for it. It's fine.
Okay, all right. You hire someone to teach you Imperial Sign Language and gain 2 progress. As I said, the big event this week is a war parade held later on. Do you guys attend? It's not mandatory.
Yes.
I'll attend.
Brania?
Granny will probably just be curious and follow Maximus.
Okay, and then Corvus, are you taking a break from your studies or are you dived in?
Nah.
Okay.
Was it
you
2 or
and
3
your
progress again?
2.
Okay.
All right, then everyone but Corvus,
That's
you
not very patriotic of you.
Oh no, what a surprise.
Suspicious.
Everyone but Corvus makes their way down to the parade path. Such a thing would have been planned out probably earlier in the week, not by much though. The Emperor is to make an appearance at the very end. He hasn't made many public appearances in the last couple years. I mean, everyone knows he's alive because, it's God. So it'd be pretty obvious if, the Emperor died. That's not really a concern, but it's still been a while since his subjects have seen him. So, do you guys pick like a fixed point along the parade route, or are you like trying to follow it? What's your idea?
I'm looking for a rooftop.
I mean, just there are balconies that people will rent out the balconies of their private homes to you guys if you want to.
I was just making a Lee Harvey Oswald reference.
Oh, gulp.
Well,
a bit
get your
where I
system
can-
ready.
Ooh. A bit where I can see the Emperor if he makes an appearance.
Okay, that would be
I want to stand in the front. I want to stand
in the front of what?
The
Oh, he's walking with the parade. Giga chat.
That's just not
Yeah,
allowed.
walking with the
You're
parade.
just a random person. You just can't be doing that. You would have been contacted by the parade organizer.
He's a part of the Emperor's
Well,
family.
I mean, like following.
Okay.
I
Sure.
thought you said that was an option.
No, it is. It's just, yeah. No, you can. When you say following, I thought you meant like walking in the parade at the back. Okay, sure. All right, then, so yeah, Maximus, Grania, Zednius, the 3 of you find a balcony of a nobleman's or senator's house inside of the Imperial Quarter. Now, the Imperial Palace is very big. There are only about, I think we've discussed this before, Tullius's house is along this very narrow thoroughfare of about, I think it's a dozen or 24 homes within sight of the Imperial Palace. There are very few homes like this. However, this is a chance for them to make a fucking fortune renting out just like space on their lawn and stuff like that. So it will cost 1 gold per head, which, I mean, I know for you judges isn't very much, but you're paying $1,000 to get a patch of lawn to stand in.
How much for the meet and greet?
There is no meet and greet with the Emperor for coinage.
Yeah, I know that was a joke.
Yeah, I know.
Based Catholic
So Maximus,
Church.
do you pay for you, Grania, and Zednius?
Is there?
Yeah, man.
Can I pay more to get a balcony?
No. There's not, most
Yes.
Mithdosian homes are not 2-floored. This one, these villas are, but those balconies, there's not many, and they're going to be reserved for the actual owners of the houses.
Rip bozos.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll fork over $3,000 to sit on some dude's lawn.
Alrighty, well, stand, because you need to have room for the other people who are also paying him money. But yeah, you make your way to his lawn about 5 in the morning on the day of the parade. You'll be hanging out for the next 6 to 7 hours. Then
Good times.
yes, you'll be following the parade. Now, normally, for a normal human being, this would be miserable. There'd be, getting pushed from all sides. You'd have to, like, shove your way forward, but you have glowing eyes, so not so much a problem. And now, much of the parade, so the parade begins at the Department of War, which is actually very close to the Imperial Palace, but it's going on a long, circuitous path through the city. There are 7 survivors from Slava. They are all lower-ranked soldiers. Only one of them is an Optio, the rest are just legionnaires. They have scars from the battle. One of them is missing a hand, Another one has bandages over his face. These are things that could easily be cured with magic. You could regenerate the hand. You could cure the wound on his face. You could prevent a scar from ever forming. They did not do that. They left the wounds of war on these soldiers' bodies to remind the people at home what it is like out on the plains. Each of them is on a separate chariot with loved ones who have been brought to the capital to celebrate their survival. 2 of them were not even Imperial citizens. They were allied Tabrashans. They have both been uplifted to Imperial citizenry, and they wear their citizenship's contract on their chest, kind of like a coat of arms. People cheer for these 7 holy survivors. Behind them walks the First Legion. This legion was previously led by the heir to the Empire and is now led by the venerable General Galenus, who the Galentine War is named after him. There are also Imperial Guard who walk amongst them, though these are largely like color bearers holding the flags of all the different legions who have fought on the plains. They also carry the flags of the obliterated legions. There are legions which have their numbers reserved, like Legio 13 was completely destroyed in the when Aurelian Domitus rose to power. He annihilated that legion, but they still fly the flag to acknowledge that it had a role in Imperial history. It's lots of pomp and circumstance. They pull upon the ancestral stories of how Mythos was founded when a Simorgh, which is a 2-headed eagle, flew above the river, and then the founder of Mythos planted his town there. There is large dioramas and imagery sculpted from a mixture of magical creation and hardworking artisans depicting the war on the plains. This is not a moment of mourning about the horrors of war. This is a moment of, we are facing the devil himself and proving victorious. The Tabrashan princedoms are depicted as monstrous pagan heathens. They, in all the imagery, they are depicted as slavering, wielding clubs, they're not even equipped like soldiers. The dragon is depicted as a literal dragon in most of this art, kind of drawing parallels with the Beast of Atlia. And he died rather anticlimactically for the Empire, but nonetheless, his death is depicted as these brave Mythosian soldiers spearing the dragon through its gut. And something notable in a lot of this imagery is that no individual Mythosian is lifted up as leading the war effort. Instead, every one of these acts of both victory and defeat is at the will of Aurelian's soul. When the armies were obliterated at the Battle of Caloi, the Aurelian soul has his back turned, basically letting the legion be destroyed for some perceived sin. When the legions are victorious, it is because Aurelian soul spurns them onward, calling down lightning and the power of the gods onto their foes. The end of the parade is taken up by the war sick. So these would be people who have been permanently disabled by the war, and for whatever reason, it can't be fixed. So this would include a lot of brain injuries. Brain injuries are technically curable, but incredibly expensive, way outside the cost of anyone short of an imperial judge or higher. There are also the war widows, people who have lost their family members. There are the priests of half a dozen different shrines and cathedrals from around the city. And then taking up the very, very end of this very long column are prisoners of war. Prisoners of war are relatively rare on the War on the Plains, mostly because the Empire's been losing for several years, so they don't take a lot of prisoners, but they do take some. And those Tabrashans have been stripped of their armor to look a lot closer to the barbarians in a lot of the imagery. They're wearing loincloths. In some cases, they've been given full trousers. Most of these men have been beaten and mistreated for years in Imperial captivity, and it shows. They have scars, and none of this is viewed as a negative thing. These are monsters. And the fact that most of all the prisoners of war following the caravan only speak Tabrashan, so they can't even, communicate with their conquerors in their language, kind of adding to the barbarism of them. Prometheus, you kind of follow along behind these prisoners of war. In other cultures, like in Western Valeros, this is where you'd have, people throwing objects, but in Mythosia, such a thing is anathema. This is a carefully curated display of imperial power. The mob has no part in it. It is the Emperor's will, whatever will happen. The large convoy finally makes its way down the thoroughfare where Maximus, Grania, and Zenius have been waiting for hours at this point. You first see the victorious survivors of Slava. They are, cheered, and at this point, A couple of basically pre-appointed people are told to throw wreaths, and they throw these wreaths, which are symbols of victory in Mythos. They throw them at the feet or like ahead of the chariots as they ride by. Then, the whole parade I just described passes you guys by and starts to fill in the massive courtyard leading up to the Imperial Palace complex. The Imperial Palace itself has a massive rotunda, big enough to fit the entire parade I just spoke about, and then a balcony ascended above it, which looks like a massive throne. And then within this massive throne-shaped balcony is another throne that is closer in size for a human being. And you wait, and slowly you guys see Primius at the very back of the column, along with literally like 10,000 other people who have been following the parade. And everyone starts to kind of hold their collective breaths, waiting to see if the Emperor will make an appearance. Because there was no grand announcement that he's going to, it's just the rumor had started that he would. And so as the war prisoners are guided into this massive rotunda, the Imperial Guards kind of block off access to the rotunda, and then everyone kind of holds their breath and awaits. The balcony opens, and the entire rotunda, this massive courtyard, starts to get brighter. The man who emerges is recognizable to all of you when you took your oath as a judge. He is Aurelian Invictus Soul. He is Aurelian's soul living, walking this earth. At times, he can reduce himself to appearing like he's a mere man, but in this moment, he doesn't do that. His eyes are so bright, so heavenly and sunly to look upon, that the entire courtyard is filling with light, and no one can look at him. Everyone has to avert their eyes from the balcony to avoid, spots. But that divine aura diminishes rather considerably, and everyone is finally able to look at him. He sits on a throne within a throne, and there is no one else in the balcony. There's no advisors, there's no attendants, because he doesn't need those. He is God. The voice that rings out echoes across the courtyard, filling the entirety of the entrance into the Imperial complex. You can't imagine how loud this must be for the people that are just below that balcony. What sort of magic's required to make a voice boom that far? It seems to come from the sky itself.
Victory is never easy, but victory is guaranteed. Sacrifices will be necessary. Faith is a sacrifice in and of itself. We honor these men for their sacrifice, and the many others who have fallen. The Tranquiline halls await them.
And his proclamation is finished. The area around you erupts with excitement and surprise and all sorts of things. This is a proclamation from God himself, telling them that victory is inevitable, telling them that sacrifices have happened, but they're all in Tranquiline halls. The war widows who have been following into the courtyard, a lot of them fall to their knees and begin to cry, receiving this divine confirmation that their husbands, their sons, their brothers are now in paradise. A lot of the men who survived are, weeping on their knees. The reaction is one of pure devotion and utter faith, confronted with a living God. The only group, which rather notably seem to be affected differently, are the Tabrashan war captives. They look stunned. And with that, the crowd basically becomes a bit unruly. People start to try to push their way past the Imperial Guard to get access to the courtyard. Since Primius, you're there, you can feel the crowd surging behind you, trying to push past, basically through you, push you into the Imperial Guards in front of you to get access to the courtyard. There's no one unified chant that's appearing, but it just seems this overwhelming desire to be closer to God is pushing them to try to force their way into the courtyard. What are you doing?
Yeah, I'm gonna turn around and start helping the guards and telling people to cut that shit out.
Are you using magic or just your voice?
Huh?
Are you using magic or just your voice?
Is their speech still happening? Because I don't want to step on God's toes. You know what I mean?
No, he said the short thing and then left.
Oh, okay. Let's see. What spells do I have, if that would do anything?
I believe Sickening Radiance would be quite effective here.
Yeah, I believe Fireball would help a lot.
I literally would, by the way.
Just mow
Um,
down 30 commoners.
I should have come just to practice my new spell.
I'm gonna cast Dominate Beast,
Prestidigitation might be.
Are you casting a spell?
Prestidigitation might be
No,
effective.
no.
Okay, then you are drowned out by untold multitudes. You could scream at the top of your lungs, and it's not even worth rolling an intimidation check because you're a drop of humanity. Magic is really the only, like, even with glowing eyes, half these Imperial Guards have glowing eyes. Like, that doesn't actually denote you as unique here. Unless you're willing to actually start killing people, you're not really going to bolster the line much more than it already was.
Yeah, fucking kill them.
Yeah, I mean, you join the line, start to push them back. Maximus, Grania, Zednius, you guys are, because you're on this lawn, the people here are, I'd say, significantly less fanatical. The lawn wasn't actually as packed as you had thought it would be. Like, you guys have room to, like, move your arms and stuff. Any three of you that wants to answer, what was this like for you? What's the character's reaction to all of that?
I wouldn't say disgust, but Grant
I have-
definitely like very weirded out by this. When to her, it's just like it's just a person.
Interesting. Okay.
That's... How could you say such a thing?
Well, good thing you didn't hear me say such a thing. So.
Luckily, yeah, you can't read her thoughts, bozo.
Yep. I have been
I
blessed
can.
by the presence of God a second time.
True.
This is truly a monumental day.
So, to be clear, Maximus takes those words to heart, that all of those people are in the Tranquiline Halls, that victory is inevitable, that sacrifices will be required, but the glory of Mithdosica is completely without question.
Oh, absolutely.
Does this
It's just,
change your thoughts
how-
on the
how we're-
Horatii? Because their plan is to launch a soft military coup?
No. No, not really.
Okay.
Not at all, in fact. Simply part of the Emperor's plan.
That is true. They don't intend on removing the Emperor by any means. They just want to seize direct control of the entirety of the state with the Department of War, which I guess is technically not removing the Emperor from power. Well, then Zednius.
If it happens, it was the Emperor's will. If it doesn't, we all die, and that was also the Emperor's will.
Okay.
This guy is a real understander.
Zednius. Tullius wants to kill this man. He's made it rather explicit that he has plans to kill God and seize his mantle. Does a moment like this, being confronted with the undeniable power of that person, does that weaken your faith in Tullius's abilities at all?
No, because if he succeeds, then he's going to be this god. He's going to be just as strong.
Yeah, but
Gonna be
can he
sick.
succeed?
My dad's gonna beat
Yes.
up your dad.
You can. Okay,
so.
so you are a fanatic, just not to Aurelian's soul, but to Tullius.
I guess so.
I guess so. Well, Primius, you will essentially exhaust yourself for the next 20 or 30 minutes doing crowd control. The Imperial Guard will not really question like anything. Like, they have their line. Like, if you kind of stand in front of their line and push back people, they're not going to stop you. But it's just kind of a drop in the bucket. The Imperial Guard is trained for these things. You know, they have interlock shields. They will start killing people if they push too hard. And after 2 or 3 bodies hit the ground after being stabbed through the neck, the massive surge of fanaticism fades away. None of those killed are revived, which is also kind of a slap in the face of those fanatics that were trying to get in. They're like, oh, fuck. Aurelian's soul is not supportive of this action. And the crowd begins to
What
surge
did they
back.
expect?
And the Imperial Guard sends through mounted soldiers, and basically over the course of the next 30 minutes, a running battle happens as random people are swept back. Luckily, because you guys are on the front lawn of a villa, the other 3 of you just kind of I have to watch this whole thing. There's nowhere else to go unless you're going to teleport. But eventually, the mob is pushed back by a mixture of severe force, beatings, arrests. This is all pretty standard fare for any kind of parade. It just kind of happens. And by the end of it, the Imperial complex is quiet, with one notable exception. People have not left the lawns yet because there's one part at the end of all these parades, which is the prisoners of war. The crowd clearly was a bit too frothing for it to be dealt with when they were there, so this only comes after the last of the rabble has been pushed out of this long, long boulevard. But a representative of the Emperor, he is a man with a bald head, glowing eyes, essentially considered, like, basically the highest ranking priest in the Empire, though he holds no formal rank, he is just the voice of the Emperor. They abandon their previous name. Their only job is to communicate the religious instruction of the Emperor. He walks down into the courtyard. You can't hear the words he's speaking, but he's talking to several Imperial guards, and sentences are delivered on each of the prisoners of war. For all of them, it is the same sentence. It is a quick execution. Imperial guards walk over, pull their necks back, slit their throats for all 20 of them in synchronous movement, and then the bodies are left there in the courtyard. And now, all those people that were on the lawns start to disperse. The parade is over, the sacrifices have been given, the divine proclamation has been handed down. There will be some technically, like, invited people would be able to go and speak with the survivors of Slava, but that would be a very small subset of the Empire, and you are not among them. So, back to the villa you go.
Alex, what day did this happen on?
This happened on the 22nd of January.
Like, which day which day of the long rest is that?
6th.
Shit. Probably not enough time. Because I remember, I wrote down that, when I was told I was on the short list for Legate, that was because Galenus was on the short list for Legate of the First.
Correct.
And clearly he is the Legate of the First now.
He is indeed.
Which means the position I'm potentially up for is now probably being looked at.
Correct. All these things are true.
Yeah, and I want to get an update, but I don't think one singular day is anywhere near enough time for that.
No, and also they would contact you if you were going to be uplifted to Legate.
Yeah, that's true.
You do seem to
Okey-dokey.
have benefited quite considerably by the heir to the Empire dying.
Did I? Is that? Oh, yes, because then he was the first, and then yep, and then yeah, okay, I see.
Yeah, there was a new
Yes,
slot
yes,
open in the ladder.
Yes, very unfortunate that the heir to the Empire died anyway.
Anyway. This is why the Empire's fucked, because even the most loyal guy to the Empire is like, well, it helps me. Oh,
No,
this
that's
place-
not.
It's gonna fucking collapse, bro.
It truly is a sad event, and I would rather the guy have lived than me get promoted, but like he's dead.
Actually,
What's the
Sure, he's dead.
Dead
or
and not
or-
revived,
Like,
notably.
I will mourn him and begrudge his loss, but what's the point in getting all worked up now?
Fair enough. Well, the city kind of has the afterglow of the festival for the rest of your long rest. You guys know this. I am going to restate it, though. The vibe in Mithdosica about the war has been pretty fucking abysmal because of material realities. I mean, Mithdosian soil has been burned. Army after army has walked onto the plains and come back broken and bruised and battered. Even these men were left with their injuries shown to show that, yes, we are suffering on the plains, but we're going to win. And that sentiment, delivered by the Emperor himself in very short, simple terms with no grand language, has really stuck with the people. Especially that light show at the start. The fact that, an entire, what was that, 12,000 people was blinded by his power. So, long rest finishes.
Blessed, I think you mean.
Blessed, yeah. Long rest finishes. We got everything. I actually can't even think of a single thing that we need to do that we haven't done. So, what now?
Time to head back to
Sednius,
the
I did want
mountains.
to have a conversation with you.
Uh-oh.
Last day
No,
of the long
you are.
rest.
Yeah,
You
so-
guys have been chilling in your villa, and where do you find Zednius?
In his goon cave.
That's
Right.
wrong
I'll
for so
try
many
his
reasons.
goon cave
In my
first.
house?
Okay, so he doesn't have
In
that.
my house?
He has what we call a bedroom, and there is no anything of what
That's
you're
we said,
describing.
right?
No, that's not what you said.
Mm.
Yeah.
Um,
Sure. Yeah. You can
His,
find
his-
Zenius. Where would you be at like
Yo,
2 p.m. on a day where you have
Doing it.
nothing scheduled?
nothing scheduled at 2 p.m. Probably just at a cafe getting something.
Okay, that's
chatting
true.
with
You do have your
locals.
little coffee addiction. Shame you never developed a proper drug addiction. That would have been pog. So Maximus, you find you go to a coffee house in Mythos, and you know it's not easy to find Zednias. It does definitely take you a bit of time. It's not like he's telling you like, oh, I'm going to this place. He just leaves. But eventually, after going to 3 or 4 and asking around about, hey, you seen a white-haired judge of the empire? Eventually, you will find him. And he is sitting in a corner booth. There is a variety of literature on the table, not like in Ravinium where it was like banned literature. This is just like actual literature. This is poems
thank
and
God.
broadsheets and all sorts of other kind of short form literature that is provided to these cafes, because they're a lot more than just coffee shops. They're hangout spots. Yeah.
Zednius, mind if I have a seat?
Yes.
Not at all.
Alright,
Set down my
I'll order a coffee,
newspaper or
I
whatever.
suppose.
What are you guys dressed at like when you're off duty? I'm so used to adventuring the two of you. What do you
I'm
look like
looking
when
good.
you're not?
I'm fancy.
Oh, you're wearing your
Silk
silks.
and silks and all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just in some basic off-duty soldier clothes. You know, a
Well,
tunic.
that'd be
some,
essentially a type of uniform, but you're not allowed to wear one of those because you're not in the legions.
Well, not a uniform, just like a tunic.
Oh
pair of
wow, just
breeches.
a single simple tunic. Oh my gosh, you look so.
No,
Pomp-
nothing.
All right.
It's comfortable, man. Armor's heavy. I like not wearing a lot when I don't have to.
Okay, so you sit down across from Zenius.
He's a nudist.
Ugh. Yeah, I'll order a coffee, and then once it arrives, just So, I've noticed you've gotten a bit beefier over our adventures,
Yes.
and I think you should start taking a bit more of a frontline role in combat. I know when we started, that
agree.
wasn't really. Oh, excellent. That makes the
I haven't had
conversation
much
super easy
opportunity
then.
to lately, but yeah, I plan on it.
I suppose that's fair. Because Primius is significantly squishier than I imagined him to be when he first joined. And having him all close up in the action has not been the best for his health as of late.
He's still
But yeah,
alive.
that would well, yeah, you and I are still alive somehow, despite both of us not being that at one point.
And him as well.
But well, yeah, I think he got the better end of the whole being dead deal. But yeah,
Off topic,
that's
Harkin.
that makes
Off topic, Harkin. If Tullius does become God, am I like technically a paladin because he revived me?
No.
Dang.
he didn't actually revive you, right? He just
A resurrection scroll did. That'd go.
Using it's divine magic. Does a resurrection scroll have a god attached to it?
It can. It doesn't need it. You're not sure what type he used on you.
Would that logic continue? Like if Premius somehow became god, does that mean Maximus is suddenly a paladin because I used cast Revivify on him?
No.
Okay.
damn it. Unfortunate.
Only.
Well, all right then. I'll finish my coffee and go find a better drink to sip on.
Yeah. I mean, so there's you've been to the 7th Legion clubhouse. This feels like the wrong word, but like Veterans Association here in Mythos before, so you can go there. Obviously, spirits there are especially high because they already thought that like, oh, we're gonna win this eventually, and now it's like, oh my god, we're gonna win this. Like, people have taken what the Emperor said and really run with it. They're convinced that this year will be the last year of the War on the Plains, which honestly is pretty reasonable because if the Empire suffers like 1 or 2 more cataclysmic defeats, they can't. They just can't keep making legions like this. They've essentially replaced half of their entire army. They've replaced almost half of the entire army over the course of this relatively brief war. It's just not feasible to keep doing this. So
all quiet on the Eastern Front.
For now, yeah. Well, I think with that, the reason we're on the world map is because you guys can enter the Atlian Mountains at any point. You don't need to go back the same way you went. In fact, I'm not sure if you should, since you searched. I mean, you didn't search every square, but what do you guys want to do? How do you want to approach the Atlian Mountains this time? If you have any questions, I'll let you know. Also, you do have access to all notes on the Atlian Mountains provided by other groups of judges, which there are 6 other groups. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 other
groups. We met. They said they found one glyph pair like in the northeastern side, right?
Nope, they did not say that. But yes, you did meet another group of judges. They said they were looking for one in the northeastern side.
Oh, I thought they found
That's the same thing.
Nope. Yeah, you met Porcius, Liberia, and Demolik. Liberia seemed to be sort of the leader of that team, and she said that they had found 2 of the 4 that had been discovered, and they believed that, similar to you guys, since there wasn't one found in the northeast, and there was some kind of there's some sort of symmetry to it, they assumed it would be up there, but they hadn't found it yet, which is what led you guys to looking in the glacier.
It didn't look very hard in the glacier, and we kind of prepared to go up there, so...
Yeah, I mean, so then what point do you want to approach the mountains from?
Probably the right, because that's the fastest way to get to the glacier, it seems
true.
like.
That is true.
Or do we do like a, hit it from direct north, and then just sort of power down south from there?
Seems like a decent idea.
Okay, so same way we entered last time.
We don't have to recover ground we've already covered.
We could also do the
What's this
option,
little,
we approach it from the south.
Oh yeah, we could do that. I like that idea actually, because we ain't been down there.
It's true.
Or at least not all the way.
A notable location that is in the south of the glacier. I don't think you guys know the exact positioning, but to the south of the glacier is supposed to be Mons Atlia, which is the what do you call it? The only permanent settlement of the Rangers, the Atlian Rangers. They only had like one base essentially, because they weren't a very big group to begin with, and that was at the base of the glacier, so or the southern side of the glacier. So you could swing by there, since Ethan thinks there's still some of them alive.
Oh yeah, I'm really for that now.
Last question I have before we set out. Do we want to look for Aurelius, the Deputy Autarch of the Department of Magic, for the spell thing?
Well, do we know? Do we have any clue where he might be?
Yes, I believe he reported to Praetor Cato that he was in the town of Rapola, which is in the western foothills of the Atlian Mountains.
Which one is it? This one or this one?
It's that one, yeah.
The first one?
Yeah, first one.
Okay, yeah. Well, how about we go to Rapola, then we go to this one, and then we approach from the south.
Oh, you mean like the south, like the way far south of the mountain? Okay.
Yeah, I was just talking about approaching that northern glacier from the south.
Oh well, then let's go. How we can also do that and then go to let's go to Rapola.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, walking in the
go to
lowlands is
Rapola.
always much, 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 much faster. So getting to Rapola by foot will take, let's go measure. I'm thinking a day and a half. We'll see what it takes. Plus, you don't burn through rations because there's lots of places to stop.
Wait,
That's
well,
two-
by the way, Zednis, you just before we actually head out, you took you have space for my tent.
I believe it's still on his sheet. It was there when I last saw it.
I'm not sure that was mine or
Oh,
his.
well, there's a tent on his
I
sheet.
think we have multiple.
It's mine, I think.
That one's mine.
No,
Oh my God,
there's one.
everyone's claiming it.
Fine,
There's
fine.
there's my tent, Maximus's tent, and I can add Corvus's tent.
Okay.
Okay.
Good.
I've got
All right.
115 rations. Is that enough?
Hopefully.
I believe so.
All right, no more adding shit to the sheets. We're locked the fuck in. We set forth for Mythos and begin to travel southward. It takes 2 days of walking through Mythasia and Sedalia to get to, I mean, obviously, someone's flying on the Pegasus, but the rest of us are walking to get to the town of Rapola. I believe you guys have been here before. I think it was Hydra related. Don't quote me on that. I'm sure Chowder will correct me, but I know you've been here once before. I just can't remember why. Wait, maybe this is the town where Renesmee stole a horse from.
Based.
You guys have been here
Oh
before.
God.
No, it was the
Fucking-
Hydra. It's in my notes. It was the Hydra. Anyways, so you guys walk through Mythasia and Sedalia. The one note during this multiple days of walking is that Sedalia, the Sedalian foothills are actually heavily inhabited, or used to be. But you guys walk through about 3 abandoned towns on your way up through the foothills towards Rapola, where people have just packed up everything, like even the front doors of their houses in some cases, and just left, viewing it as no longer worth it. Finally, late in the day, it begins to rain. That means it's probably going to rain for the next couple days as well, because it is the wet season in Mythosia during the winter. So you get to look forward to that. So as you guys kind of pull your cloaks about you and begin walking up the paths to Rapola, we're going to do some of this, and you guys are here on the very, very edge of the map. Rapola is a very small town. It was one of those tiny, many tiny little villages that has a single cloister in it. Like, this is the scale of village we're talking about here. However, you see that about all the outer farms have been totally abandoned. A palisade has been built around the village, and there's no people that come out to greet you. You guys are approaching at like 2 or 3 in the afternoon. Rain could probably be a contributor, but you don't even see anyone guarding the palisade. In the great fields around the town that would have once been cultivating all sorts of things, you see massive festering corpses. Honestly, I'm just going to get a survival check from everyone to see if anyone can identify what those corpses once were before they started rotting. But they're very big.
Does nature not help?
Not with something this desiccated. I think this really is a survival check.
Okay.
All right. Grania and Zednius, the 2 of you, okay, Maximus as well. The 3 of you can recognize that there are several different types of animals spread around these fields. They're all spaced by about 100 feet. You see cows that have been rotting for weeks. You see horses that have been rotting for weeks. You see a basilisk that has had its like entire innards basically cut open and just kind of like spilling onto the field and just left there to rot for looks like maybe a week or so. This is now we start to get to the weird shit. Grania, you identify a troll which has been killed, which you didn't think that was possible. Like, as long as a troll was a fully, so trolls are like 7 foot tall, large green creatures that seem to be able to regenerate through almost anything until you fully kill them. This one doesn't look burned. It doesn't look like it got killed by acid. It's just dead. And it's lying there on the ground, rotting slowly. Then Zednius, you can identify several ogres, which you guys fought, I think, like a year ago or something like that. There's about 3 of them that have had their massive distended bellies cut open, their innards just like spilling out onto the field. And Maximus, you can see that there is a pile of probably human bodies, you would guess. You think you can make out a hand amongst the like large rotting pile. That one's been rotting for probably months. And the smell coming from the fields around Rapola is obviously fucking horrendous. We're talking hundreds across, because it's in all directions around the village, hundreds of rotting bodies that are just being left out to rot. You can't imagine that the villagers like this. I mean, it smells horrible, and it's not something you can get used to either, because it's a smell of rot and death. So, are we approaching the palisade?
Huh.
I think so.
Okay. There is a very narrow, upraised path that passes through the fields. It's made of like beaten down like wheat and other stuff like that. Like there's this little uplifted path that you can walk that will keep you elevated above the rotting muck, because it's also muddy. Like these fields are muddy and filled with like viscera and rot, and this tiny human-sized upraised path. So you guys have to walk single file. I'm just going to assume the same marching order you guys had in the mountains last time. And no one comes to the palisades, but once you guys are about 45 feet away, you feel, I think all of you feel this in different ways. Grania, you have a second heartbeat that always accompanies your own, which is Skalatha. It's always very faint, typically, but it's always there. Once you get within about 50 feet of the palisade, that stops. For Corvus, you feel like your kind of an innate understanding of magic that deadens completely. Zednius, your permanent connection to Tel Karel, which is very metaphysical and hard to describe, evaporates. For Primius, your connection to Aurelian Soul ceases. And Maximus, yours is a lot more obvious. I think you have active magical items, right, that are not material based? Like
Not material based?
Yeah, like your saddle would be a good instance, but obviously you're not using that. Do you have any other ones?
Well, I am using the saddle. I'm on the Pegasus.
Oh,
but,
okay. Your saddle, which normally kind of like has this gravity to it that keeps you clung to it, you realize as the Pegasus walks along this beaten down wheat, is no longer functioning. So I think all of you, as you like one by one cross this threshold, each of you feels that magic deadens to an immense degree.
Do a divine sense.
It does. I gotta go read a quick spell description.
Anti-magic field.
I'll put divine sense in.
The divine sense is not the thing I need to check. It's okay.
I know. I'm just making sure we know what it
I
does.
think it does work, because that's not a spell. So, there is nothing that meets that qualification within... Oh, sorry. There's a Fae within 60 feet. Oh, no, it's just Celestial Fiend or Undead. Never mind. There's nothing that triggers that ability within 60 feet. You guys are the person that's the most far forward, which I think was Premius. Let me go check the marching order.
I believe it was Maximus.
It is Maximus. Maximus, at the head of the column, you are about 20 feet away from the palisade gate. It's not like any impressive construction. You could shatter this open with ease, but you're about 20 feet away from it. There's a little torch burning, there's this like overhang where you could someone would stand up on there and then they would look down at you, and then there's this kind of inset, which is where the gate is, and then there's a little torch hanging there. So this is not like an abandoned town. It's very clearly inhabited.
So nothing has been consecrated or desecrated?
No.
Wait, the
I'm
torch is
gonna
burning, or
look back
there's
to
just
the others.
suns?
It's burning.
Does y'all's magic work?
I'm
I'll
gonna
shake
do
my
a
head.
My item,
prestidigitation.
my saddle at least don't.
Prestidigitation does work. It's muted though. Like whatever effect you try to achieve, let's say, clean off your cloak of water. That's a very common one you do. It does it. It just does it slowly. Like you literally can see the ripple effect as the tiny little force wave pushes the water droplets off.
Yeah, there's something fishy going on here.
Hello, the palisade.
Where once there was nothing on a rampart, there is now a man. To those of you with magical inclination, he obviously just ended an invisibility spell. He looks old. Tullius's age, probably, though he has a bit more hair than Tullius does. He has scars along his face. He is wearing leather armor, but the armor the material it's made of is totally unfamiliar. He has two like bags sitting at his waist. He's pretty tall. Like his waist is above the palisade protective barrier. He has a short sword at his side, a dagger kind of at his waist. He has a warhammer in his hand and a javelin in his other hand. And he just kind of looks down at all of you and says, "What are you judges doing here?"
We were
Look
looking
to
for. Was his name Aurelius?
What do you need him for?
I wanted to. I wanted to ask if maybe he knew a spell, if I could copy it from a spell book.
He's busy.
Who are you?
How about I save us both time and we don't do the whole introduction thing? Dogheart, proconsul of the Department of War. Recently assigned myself as an imperial judge.
Dogheart. Wait, is this Lars?
No, absolutely
Okay.
not. Maximus, roll me a history check.
Yay!
Permeus too.
Oh, well, Prometheus may have better luck on this one.
Nope.
Yep. Oh, fuck.
Yeah, it's not familiar to you guys. Just he said his name was Dogheart, which is obviously not it's the most unhinged shit you ever heard for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
And he said he was a proconsul?
Yeah, in the Department of War.
What level around that? Like, so higher than a consul, right?
No, consul is the highest rank.
Oh,
he'd
okay.
be one
Proconsul's
below
one
that.
below, right?
Which one was I? Was I a consul?
Nope, you were none of those things. I think
Yeah, okay.
you don't even have an imperial senator rank. I don't believe.
Oh, I meant in the.
In the legions, you
What
were a
rank was that?
tribune of Equites Tribunus, I think was your title. But
Some random
these are two totally different ranks. It'd be like saying, is a senator a higher rank than like a brigadier general? It's just they're two different rank structures.
Right.
But the answer is yes,
What
by a lot.
were you doing for the Department of War before?
Strategic war planning.
How'd you wind up out here?
I assigned myself. Now, like I said, Aurelius is busy.
Or you can do that.
Aurelius is busy, but what's he busy with?
He's in some sort of magical fucking pocket piece of shit, and can't contact him till he comes out, doing his little strange ass experiments.
When does
I
he
am
come
magic
out?
users.
Whenever he's done.
How long does he usually take?
Jesus Christ. Did judges... I don't even mean judges. I don't know. If I knew the answer, I'd fucking tell you. What's your rank?
Judge?
Judge. Judge. Your real rank. Judges are nothing. What were you before this?
What was I before this, Harkon?
Battle mage.
Battle mage.
He chuckles. Of course you were.
I'm wearing the robes and everything, of course.
Well, run along.
What happened here?
Oh, it's a little experiment Aurelius is running, seeing if we can bait the beast to come down. Works in all the other critters pretty well. Half the other groups of judges are wandering the foothills trying to fight all these monsters. Offer them up some food, kill them then.
What happens if it
What?
works?
We kill it.
Okay,
You
but
and
like the
who?
experiment, the pocket dimension thing. Are we talking like ballpark of he comes out once a day or like once every few weeks?
Never been a couple of weeks yet. Sometimes it's days, sometimes it's a couple of minutes. The point is, though, he's doing something. I can't contact him. You're not coming in here. So
Why not?
I don't want you in here. I don't like how your face looks. I don't like your tone. And because I'm a proconsul of the Department of War, which I'll remind you outranks a judge, I just don't want you in here.
I'll look to Maximus.
I'll turn to
I think-
Grania.
I
I'll
think
say like
we need
quietly
to
to
investigate.
Maximus. But there's no way.
What? Sorry. What did Prometheus say?
Premise is saying, I think we should investigate this.
I'll just nod.
What did Maximus
This
say,
guy
Grania?
is
I'll-
not trustworthy.
I don't know what you all are. Yeah, I'm about to, in response to them, say
You're
what I
good.
was going to say anyway. I don't know what you all are talking about. I like this guy.
Well,
Grania will
Everything-
nod.
Reasonable
Like
reaction.
your face.
You think you get anywhere by calling yourself Dog Heart? Nice. Probably not even Imperial.
like him or not, I think we need to do our due diligence of Judges of the Empire and look throughout this place because it's not natural, and we need to learn everything to find those circles.
This ain't the mountains.
Yeah, I mean, he's been leaning against his javelin on the wall, and he says, "By the way, if you touch the door or any of the walls, you're gonna blow up. So I'd be careful if I were you. As in, fuck off."
Like I said, I like this guy.
I'll look
I'll
at
say
Zenius.
quietly to Primus.
Are there glyphs?
To Zednius. Could you check if there's glyphs of warding with your magic eyes?
Yeah, I'll flash my eyes.
As your eyes flash, he is going to throw a javelin at you. He can throw it, and then so I guess my question is, are you guys going to enter combat over this, or
Yes.
Okay,
Can you
all
roll?
right. We should roll into initiative.
Well, that's
I'm,
my decision.
I'm good.
Yeah, me and Maximus are good.
then. Okay.
What does that
Well
mean?
then, I think
good as in no
since we're not
prologue, or
fully
good as
committed
in,
to
yeah, we're going to fight.
since we're not committed to starting violence over this, I think we'll just make it a single roll. He's going to fling his javelin at Zednius. Zednius, does a 21 hit?
Nope.
Okay. The javelin summons itself back into his hand. Or I guess it doesn't summon itself. It pulls itself from, basically, it misses your shoulder, impales into the dirt, pulls itself back into his hand. Your eyes are managed to flash in that time. And he'll say, "Stop casting spells, or I'll throw it again."
Why is my AC's broken on my sheet?
Are you going to turn your eyes off?
Well, what do I see first before I do it?
You can see what you normally do. Actually, no. Make a perception check, because if you're keeping this on for more than a second, he's throwing another javelin at you. So you're having to take this in real quick.
I want to cast a spell.
Okay, we're rolling into
Right.
initiative.
It's a non-combat
It
spell.
doesn't
It's
matter. He
probably-
doesn't know that.
Can't tell that.
You're talking to someone who's
Yeah.
like magic retarded, and you know it.
Yeah. Yeah, I was
Alrighty.
gonna cast ascending to.
It doesn't. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. This is a horrible
okay, though.
decision.
This is what Maximus has been trying to train all of you to deal with, is magically retarded people. It doesn't
Well,
seem to
alrighty.
have worked.
All right. Oh, sorry. I was on the right map, but I hadn't moved you guys there yet. I will assign you to initiative.
Yeah, he looks chill.
Yeah, he is chill. You guys are just
Yeah, he
triggering
he
every
is
single
chill.
part of his annoyance.
He's not chill.
He's just
not
Maximus.
chill.
He's literally just a grown-up Maximus.
No, Maximus
yeah,
wouldn't throw weapons at Imperial judges,
Maybe.
like trying to kill
I
them.
have been what's the phrase I'm looking for?
Prometheus, are you trying to
extremely
react to this or
Brain
cast a
damage?
spell or something like that?
Suicidal.
No, I've been like
Openly hostile
immersed in
towards-
magic.
Shh, quiet. Like, are you rolling into this combat?
I don't think so.
Okay, then. Order of operations is Zednius' eyes, they're still glowing. You got a 19 on your perception, so this is what you see. There is magical signatures all around you. This is not an aura of anti-magic, it's some sort of dulling effect. As far as you can tell, the spells still function, and when you feel your connection to Tel Corel, it's still there. When you look at like the walls, for instance, you can see the front gate has a glyph of warding on it, a hidden one. Most of the walls have a glyph of warding on them. The area you're in also has a magical thing over it of the School of Abjuration. So it's not anti-magic, it's some sort of dulling thing. Corvus, since you starting to cast a spell started this combat.
Wait. But before I'm like casting spell, I'd like to say something to him.
I think that you should have said that before starting. You said you were going to
Okay,
start
okay.
casting a
Well,
spell.
like, at least, like, can I say wild?
Yeah. You can say it while you... So the reason... What I was going to say is normally, since you doing an action causes the beginning of combat, I was actually going to let you do it, but this is where a feature of his comes in, which is he can basically act first if he wants to. He just gets to choose when he goes. So the moment your hand starts to move and your lips start to move, before you speak, before you do anything, he's going to basically throw his full round of attacks at you. So he's going to throw his javelin at you. Does a 19 hit?
Check.
Pretty sure, yes.
How can my
I don't know,
hand
I was
actually.
just gonna check.
broken
I was just gonna
on my
check if it
sheet?
hits after shield. It hits after shield, so I'm not shielding. Yeah.
All right, that hits. It pulls itself out of your shoulder back into his hand. That was his bonus action to do that, so he can only make one more attack. And that's, I'm gonna guess, a miss.
Yeah.
It plunges into the dirt beside you, and as a free item interaction, he is going to take out...
Furthermore, I was gonna say furthermore.
Sure.
Anything else hits that's done on that one. My AC's 13.
Yeah. As a free item interaction, he's going to lift up one of the bags from his belt and open it. Inside, you can see a series of furry balls, and he grips one of them. Corvus.
Gripping his balls.
You can abort the spell if you want, but this is essentially a ready to action type thing where like you starting the spell is what triggered this. So you can cast your sending spells, what you said, or you can cancel it and do something else.
I'm gonna cancel it.
Okay. You do still burn
And
the
I'm
spell
just.
slot.
Oh, I do.
Yeah, because it was essentially you were doing
Oh,
the
okay.
spell.
Never mind. Then I'm letting
Okay.
it go off.
Great.
I'm not letting it go to waste.
All right. What are you
Okay.
sending to Kato?
Encountered a proconsul named Dogheart. Openly hostile and attack on.
It's so
Oh,
funny
sorry,
to picture you screaming this as quickly as you can in 6 seconds. He's like, he's trying to kill me. He's trying to fucking kill me. Okay.
Openly hostile and attacked a judge with intent to kill.
Okay. He'll
How
respond next
proceeds?
turn.
Question mark.
Yeah, he'll respond next turn because it takes time for words to happen. But that is really funny. Xenius, your eyes are still glowing. You saw all the things that you saw. Do you want to look for something in specific, or do you want to turn your eyes off?
Can I, since my sending is just an action, can I
Yeah.
say something? Can I move?
Does it take a verbal component to do sending? I think it does. 'Cause
Oh, yeah,
you're-
of course.
Okay, then no, unfortunately, because you're spending the whole round sending that message to Kato.
Well, in that case, I'm just taking my full movement,
Sure.
like directly away from him.
Okay, you could also go prone since he is throwing a object at you.
I'm going to get away from him, and after I've cast my spell, I'm like putting my spell, free action, putting my spell casting focus away, and I'm raising both my hands and like
Okay.
surrender.
Alrighty. And Xenius, are your eyes still glowing?
Yes, but I'm backing up.
Okay. So you back up
full
like
distance?
Corvus did. You're like backing up and lifting your hands.
Yeah.
Okay. He will pull his javelin out of the ground, and he'll say, "Turn off whatever that magic shit is on your eyes," and then he'll ready an action. So Corvus, he's not going to attack you. So unless you intend to retaliate, I'm going to take you out of the initiative. Xenius, are you going to make your eyes
Alex,
stop glowing? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll stop glowing.
Real quick,
Okay.
could I have spent the last 6 seconds absolutely racking my brain? To
Oh, yeah, if you wanna
see
make
if
another
I can
history check.
figure out.
I will let you and Prometheus,
Yeah,
because
to
you
see
and
if I can
Prometheus should
figure
have
this
similar
guy out.
knowledge on this thing. I will let the two of you pick which of you rolls history, and that'll be the one that counts, because you would both have
Well,
equal experience here.
0.
But it's
we
I
both
think
have
it's
a
0 for
zero
both. Then pick
modifier.
which one of you chooses. Who gets blamed if you fuck up?
I'd like to
Can
do it,
I-
possibly.
Can I give the help action?
Nah. It's just weird to do that for a memory thing.
Maximus think.
Yeah, history check. I think
yeah.
you wanted to put it on
Well,
you.
I mean, I guess it's like a back and forth. Oh,
never
mind.
cool.
Maximus, as he pulls the javelin out of the ground the second time, it all comes back to you. Dogheart. The dog-hearted. Oh! Basically, the highest rank NCO in the Imperial Legions has a very special title. It is Optio Superioris, and much similar to like a sorry, I don't know if anyone else in this call knows what the fuck I'm talking
What's
about, but I know you do. NCOs are non-commissioned. Yeah, basically, it's the highest ranked soldier that's not an officer in the legions. That is what
I
he
am.
was for about 30 years of his career. He has fought in every single Imperial conflict since the First Boyer War.
All right.
And his nickname is Dogheart because he is loyal, kind of dumb, and incredibly fucking violent. But we do have to cut back to Hecko because you did send a sending spell and you do get a reply. His response would be, "Don't provoke him. Cassius Servius Sola Jania Polonius is a dangerous man." That's probably the best you'll get.
What
in
was
such
that
a
rank
short
again,
time.
Alex?
A dangerous man and an ally? Could he say and an ally, question mark?
He's probably not going to include that when you're saying that you're actively being attacked. But it's called Optio Superioris.
Superioris.
Yeah,
So he was the Optio Superioris while I was in then,
correct.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, once they go through all that.
Yeah, he pulls back his bloody javelin,
yeah.
like covered with Gorvis's blood, back into his hand.
Oh shit! You were the Optio Superioris when I was in.
Yeah, you look pretty young.
That's right. Huh.
So, just to be
All
clear,
right, that makes it
no
all
bad
come
blood,
together.
but if any of you cast any more magic without explaining exactly what you're doing beforehand, my good friend here is going to be lodged in your shoulder. Maybe your hands.
I'll respond with my hands like still in the air.
Yeah, I'm not going to do it again.
No, I'm just responding with my hands in the air, saying, "Well, sorry, I guess you had to. I was just contacting my superior, asking how to proceed. My bad."
Yeah. Battle mage things.
I'll make a
Well,
face.
Well, when shit goes down, we cast the spell, you throw a javelin. It's not that far from each other, no? Well, like a smile.
Okay, I'll step forward and say, look, we don't want any trouble. We were sent here to look for magical circles by our superior. Have you heard anything, or at least
we're looking for the
anything?
same shit.
Can you give us any information? Do you know where one might be, or have a clue?
Look, Your Holiness or whatever, Aurelius has been sending reports whenever he finds things to the Master of Judges. Anything useful is filtered through him. All I do is I kill the monsters when they come, and I keep these shithole villagers following our orders. That's all.
All right.
Excellent.
But we're on the same side here. Why the hostility?
Same side? Just because we're both judges?
Yes? We serve the same master of judges.
Sure, we serve the
same
same
law.
master. That doesn't make us
I'm
allies.
gonna nudge Corvus and tell him to shut the fuck up.
It's not worth
Corvus
it.
doesn't care about what Premier says.
Well, I don't care.
He'll put his javelin at his side and, put away the warhammer and say,
Look, things come down from these mountains that look, quack, act like humans. I kill them. It's easy. But just because you're casting magic doesn't mean you're my friend. Just because you're wearing judges' badges doesn't mean you're my friend. Just because you say that you got some fancy name or bloodline or some connection or you even know who I am, that doesn't mean anything. What matters is I know who you are, and I don't know who any of you are. So, go to the mountains, go find your wards, read the report sent to the Master of Judges. Aurelius is doing great work, and leave Rapola alone.
He's got a point.
No, this guy needs to be like legally tried. It's not our business right now.
Hey,
It's not a job right now. But this guy is super out of line and should probably be brought to court. I have legal training, right, Hakon?
Yeah.
It's taking over a villager and taking a village and taking the entire village, making it into a fortified military outpost and taking the villagers essentially slaves or hostages. That's illegal, right?
normally, yes. The Imperial Edict that gave judges power over the Atlian Mountains, as you remember, is incredibly broad. In fact, the exact language is that the Great Departments and all parts of the Empire should provide any assistance possible.
Yes,
and,
yes, but you could, isn't there some kind of in the law, isn't there some kind of like reasonability clause?
There
But,
is,
like,
and you could argue
where
this, but
like
ultimately
you could argue this is abuse of power.
you could. The Emperor would ultimately be the decider, though, and you know, he just
Well, I
probably
know
doesn't
his
care.
full
Yeah,
legal
good luck
name,
with
so I'm just when we're back in Mithdosica, I'm just
True
gonna go
enough.
to a barrister and sue him.
Fair enough.
Oh yeah, what was his full legal name, Alex?
Only
Cassius
Sola
Sola
Corvus
Yania
heard it.
Pelanius.
Yeah,
Only what?
only Corvus heard it because he got it from Cato.
Oh, okay. All right.
You literally just knew him as
Nice.
Dogheart. Like it was not only like a legionary nickname; it basically became his name. I mean, he introduces himself that way. So
I don't know if this suit will go through because you were told not to engage with him.
listen, all that's for future problems. Right now, you guys are about 40 feet, probably like 60 feet back. He's just leaning against the palisade. Everything Corvus said is true, by the way. He definitely did take this entire village hostage, basically. You're not even sure why he wants the villagers here, unless he's using them as bait in some way.
Well,
But
Like what this guy's doing
I'm
is like,
going
while it
to,
might not necessarily be
I'm
all
gonna
that
fuck
illegal,
off.
it's without a doubt
Yeah.
amoral.
I'm walking.
okay, Maximus, you start to walk back across the like compacted wheat bridge back to the far side of the fields, past the many, many rotting corpses.
Yeah, I'm following Maximus.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm leaving.
Oh, it's better.
One by
It's
one,
worth it.
each of you returns across this wheat bridge. You know, there's some unhinged people in the Empire. And some have a lot of power. What can you do? So,
New
with
nemesis
that,
gained.
um,
Grania.
Yeah, I'll
Grania, would you mind healing me? You hit me quite bad on the shoulder.
He's going to give you a glare.
It's not my fault. Do you think
yeah,
it's like
he's
that guy's unhinged?
Grania's
I
going
mean,
to sign.
he did say
warned you.
stop casting spells.
I was just casting ascending to.
I don't think he knew that.
think about it. Think about it from, well, at least my perspective, which is probably similar to his, right? You're just doing a bunch of hooky pooky nonsense. Like, maybe you're about to disintegrate him.
Maybe I should have.
That
Grania's going
he's
to glare even harder.
yeah, probably wouldn't have done much. Not gonna lie.
What,
He's known for
disintegrating?
being.
Oh yeah, I was. I'm not.
Well,
actually
there's a
serious, I'm
reason
just
that
expressing
he's-
my distaste.
Uh-huh.
I think
Uh,
that
He
if
doesn't
you're-
have that much of a. Go on.
the lame exit. I just think that if you're like this high rank of a military officer, you should be able to properly announce yourself as who you are. You can't just expect people to know your stupid nickname, and that way we could have avoided this whole thing. Because when somebody like that, who seems to be really on edge, is showing, but he says that everybody else is occupied and we can't talk to them, that screams to me he's taking them hostage, and this guy is some sort of bandit. That was my
But he
base
wasn't.
assumption. Yeah, but
He's
how am I
Dogheart.
don't know? Like this
Got a
guy,
bandit?
you can't tell. He definitely has more of the demeanor of a bandit than an imperial officer. You can agree with that much, right? I think that was a reasonable assumption.
I
Some
think
insane
Dogheart's always been the
bandit.
name that he is.
Yeah, but if you don't know who the hell Dogheart is, because you haven't been in his stupid legion and serving under him. No offense, Maximus. I didn't mean it like that.
You meant it like that.
Mhm.
But if you haven't been serving specifically under him, how are you to know that this guy is some sort of special operative of the Empire's legions?
Special operative.
All I know is that guy
I'll
seen
look
bad
around at
news.
the field of. You seen many bandits that can do this?
I mean, he said that there's creatures that look like people. Do you think that maybe he could have just as well been a dragon turned human?
Granny will visibly roll her eyes.
I will say, the level of
Faye.
skepticism he expressed for
We-
you all does apply to him. Because you also don't,
we
personally.
basically roll our eyes in unison, Grania.
Okay, you
Well-
guys are naive and idiotic if you just believe anybody who says they're part of the Empire now fuck off. With
Yeah,
no
Granny will
proof
say
of any
no,
of
but why
this.
should we create a problem out of this? Whatever, he is visibly aggressive, and the only benefit we gain out of you casting a spell is us getting attacked.
We also got what we wanted,
Or
so
you getting attacked.
we don't have to dwell on it anymore.
Did you get what you wanted? I'm like smirking.
Why are
Is
you
he saying
trying
that
to
to me or to-
antagonize him? No, he's asking
Yeah, I'm
Corvus.
like Corvus is seriously thinking like, this party is like actually clinically insane.
Well,
You're just realizing this?
let's walk across the field of rotting corpses
I can't believe that Zednius is the rare reasonable one.
by saying nothing.
Exactly.
Based. Yogi wins
But
again.
instead of being passive aggressive,
Oh, well, you
for
guys
me doing my duty.
walk away and begin your slow ascent into the foothills, because that was where you're going to head after Verpola anyways. You get about an hour into your walk into the foothills when probably Corvus, I would imagine, you receive a sending spell.
Hello, this is the Deputy Artarch of the Department of Faith, Aurelius. I heard that you requested my presence and my associate threw a javelin in your shoulder. Please return.
Sorry, what did he say?
Please
He
return.
said, "Come back, my bodyguard threw a javelin at you, and I'm sorry."
He didn't say I'm sorry.
He said, "I'm sorry."
Well, he didn't
He
say
did
I'm
not say
sorry.
Well, it's sending, so I can respond, right?
Yeah, you get a 25-word response.
So I'll say, what specifically did you refer Doghard to?
He said none of that. He said, I am the Deputy Autarch of the Department of Faith. Aurelius, my associate or colleague, something like that, threw a javelin into your shoulder. Please return.
I'll say, I'll respond, your associate has taken Rapola hostage, it seems. I didn't know who he was. With his demeanor, I assumed he was a bandit or such. My mistake.
No reply comes, and you were the only one to hear it. The rest of your party is continuing their slow trudge up a hillside.
How did he know who I was? I never introduced myself.
Correct, you did not.
One of our descriptions is, I guess.
Some of us stand out.
I guess.
Well, yeah,
Well, with the guy
Well-
who has literally like a giga.
I guess you in
anti-magic
particular
field,
stand
probably
out
is some
because
sort of way to
he was
go.
able to
Grania stands
send
out.
to you in particular.
Either way, no one
Yeah.
else was contacted Corvus, so you're the only one that heard that.
Granny, are you shield hitting me or not?
He'll sigh and then he uses a healer's kit on.
Well, as she patches up your wounded shoulder, are you transmitting this message to the rest of the party, or?
I think I'm just gonna let it rest.
Okay.
We're not going back. Because you're not.
No,
telling
I
us
suppose
things that
not.
You don't know about us needing to go back.
Did he say anything about going back?
Yep, he
Yes.
said, please return. That was the last thing he said.
Oh, please return. I'm sorry. I misunderstood. When he said please return, I meant like on a walkie-talkie saying come in, over.
No.
Oh, okay. Never mind. In that case, I'm definitely. I sorry. I just misunderstood that.
Well, yeah, you're sitting on a
definitely
boulder
relaying
at the
it.
base of the hillside, and, Granny is patching at your arm, and you think about it for, like, a minute. You're like, please return. please return. Oh shit, please return.
I'll be like, I was just contacted by the deputy autarch, Aurelius. Wait.
Reached my eyebrow thought. Are you sure? You're not just trying to go back?
I was simply I just messaged by Aurelius in the sending. Who told us that we should return. And he said that he found out about us receiving a javelin. So
Well,
don't worry, I'm
Alright,
not trying
then.
to start any shit. So they get hot-headed. Guys try to,
Corvus the shit
Oh,
starter
rein me in.
when he says, "I won't start any shit."
You guys
okay.
descend
Fire
back
mages,
down the
hot-headed,
foothills.
the obvious one.
And instantly, like as you're approaching, you see that the gate of the palisade is open. There's no other changes, but the gate of the palisade is open. You can kind of see inside of the village. It has been given a sort of military uniformity to it. Villages naturally sprawl due to the contours of the terrain. There have been buildings that have clearly been torn down and rebuilt to be in this very legionary structure. I mean, everything has been, the entire town has been rebuilt around this central purpose of being an outpost for the Empire. Can't imagine how much labor that would have taken, but, hey, what else are they doing? You guys walk across this narrow little wheat bridge again, and you can see that there are no townsfolk out on the streets of Rapola. The Quaestor's home seems to have been converted into an impromptu headquarters. There's even an imperial banner fluttering from it. Where the fuck they got that from, you can't imagine. Dogheart is also nowhere to be seen, but on the kind of front porch of the Quaestor's home, there is an older man. He has a iron staff, a mithril staff, kind of held in the crook of his arm as he reclines back in a chair. He's smoking on a pipe with his left hand. He has very well, honestly, he kind of looks like an older Corvus, like a 60 or 70-year-old Corvus. He has well-groomed facial hair that's turned white in many places. His upper hair is very similar. He wears very, very nice looking battle wizard robes. They are green for the school of, no, not green. I think it's orange. I don't have the colors with me right now, but I think it's orange for abjuration. And you guys can essentially approach through the open gate. No crazy traps go off, and you can see that all the villagers' homes, the windows are the shutters are closed. It's as if they're under a what do you call it?
Martial law?
No, not martial law. It's curfew. Thank you. As if they're under curfew, and the High Arcanist won't really stand up, but he will give a wave with the arm that's holding the mithril staff as you guys approach.
All right.
Howdy.
I'll nod and
I'll give a nod as you guys, step to the base of the porch.
Aurelius Tullius Quintus Fabricia, Deputy Autarch of the Department of Magic.
Firmius Cosius Tiberius Perusian Verus. Pleasure to meet your acquaintance.
He, kind of puffs on his pipe and then blows out some smoke.
Corvus,
So-
Sinius Viria.
It's all right. I was told one of you, I think it was the one who took the javelin to the shoulder, wanted to speak with me.
Indeed, that was me.
You? I see. You look good as new. What do you need assistance with?
We were going to go to the up further to the glacier,
Huh.
and I've known about the spell for a while, but haven't been able to get my hands on. And wondered if maybe I could, if you had access to it, copy it from you. Tiny hut would be really nice for thermal insulation overnight.
He nods, kind of sucks on his pipe, and blows out some smoke.
I've access to it. You're all,
The judges.
well, obviously, or you wouldn't be inside of here. Cato sent me a spell, very upset. But, will I know any of you? Obviously, he's a part of the Imperial clan. You two, and he points at you and Grania, are both battle mages. He's stinking with Legionnaire. He points at Zednius. What about you?
I think he distinguished himself on Gala Isle.
I was there too.
Mix of it all.
Well, you got a species named after you, so I just thought that maybe. I don't think any of us are that high in the ranks that you should necessarily know us.
Well, luckily for both of us, I know that you're at least human beings. Elsewise, you would have been incinerated in the entrance. So that's a good start for our negotiation. I'm not sure what Dogheart explained to you all, but there are changelings about the mountain.
He didn't explain. He just said that things that look like humans.
An accurate description. It's not a particular species or anything like that. I use changeling as a catch-all term. There are ghosts, there are humanoids, there are intelligent spellcasters of alien sapience.
Fascinating.
Have you any idea where they came from?
I have some theories. I believe I sent them forward to the Master of Judges if you've kept apprised of my notes.
We've
I
received a
believe we
couple,
have.
but not
I
your
think it
latest.
might have not been updated just yet.
Well then, beyond the Mistwall.
Fascinating.
If it's
There's
true, it
something
certainly is.
Power to do that?
Well, we're dealing with a
Well, it's a
magic hitherto unseen since the elves. It seems feasible.
I mean, since the decline of the arcane, it seems less and less unlikely.
I could explain the magical signatures I've found on the corpses that I've killed, but you are not a wizard. I think it would be lost on you. Suffice it to say, the magics amongst those sapient species, who are certainly not familiar to me, are not of this place. Now, if you believe in the planes theory, they could be from another plane. I personally don't subscribe to such a thing. So, beyond the Mistwall
You don't
seems
believe in planes?
No. It's a
What's
lazy
the
explanation.
Hakan, what's the alternate theory? I'm sure I'm familiar with it, right?
Yeah. Alternative astral bodies. Basically, that there are other planets. Because astronomy's developed enough to know that there are other planets around the star of this system.
There's
and
two
there,
moons, right?
there are two moons. One very common theory is that one of those moons is Athelloran. There are also other planets that have been seen in the sky. Also, there are many who believe that other stars are identical to the ones in the sky of Valeros, so that would mean there are infinite options for other worlds that could, quote-unquote, be other planes.
I see. I presume you subscribe to the idea of astral bodies, then?
Yes. I'll admit it could be a bit of a old stodger, but my professor, when I was studying in Symposium, taught me the astral bodies theory, and I find it rather explanatory, especially for all this.
Well, interestingly enough, I think I recently heard I heard something that might corroborate the theory.
Oh?
We spoke with somebody who was very familiar with Athelloran and originated from there, and he did refer to it as the moon.
Interesting.
He kind of sucks on his pipe for a little bit.
I've always discarded that particular theory. We have optics advanced enough to observe both the moons, and neither seems capable of supporting life, but perhaps I'll have to revisit those observations.
They are a tricky bunch.
Fair enough. It could be some sort of mirage arcane across the entire moon.
And maybe it's a moon of a different astral body entirely.
Such things have been observed around Thetis, I believe. But I don't wish to bore the rest of your compatriots. I'm sure we could speak on these things for hours. Regarding the tiny hut, identity confirmation. It's not enough to just contact someone you know through sending, because...
Well, is Kato contacting you directly, not a confirmation of our identities?
No. It's only a confirmation that someone sent him a sending spell claiming to be you, and claiming that you were under attack. You could be a changeling. Obviously, I don't think you are. You're some human. I just don't know if you're a judge of the Empire.
I think I have a spell that could help. I have
Judge's badge.
Zone of Truth, perhaps. Excellent. That could work. I'll need to obviously make sure it's the spell that you indicate. I can do that. Lovely. This seems to work for me.
Who shall I cast it on, then?
Well, it's an aura.
Yes.
Then
but
cast it right here.
Well, I have to read if it works on me, though.
It's irrelevant. I need only to confirm one of your identities, and the rest will fall into place.
I see. Well, then I will begin casting Zone of Truth.
Yeah, he just kind of hangs out for however long it takes, sucking on his pipe. How long is it? A 10-minute thing?
It's an action, but yes, it lasts 10 minutes.
Oh, no, I meant like a ritual. Okay, cool. You cast it as an action. The entire area is kind of surrounded by this like yellowish aura. You see one of Aurelius's eyes flashes, very similar to Zednius's thing with detect magic. He observes the aura for, a couple of seconds and then nods. All right, then. Now, the best way to do this would be... I will read your thoughts, and he points at Premius. Then, he'll give his answer. I will probe into your mind, you will let me do so. I will be able to tell if you think he's being truthful, so that I can observe the spell's effects directly. If he is, I will know, and then we can properly introduce ourselves.
As long as the probe only pertains the relevant things.
I'll do my best.
I also have nothing to hide.
All right. Well, he'll ask you, what is your name?
To me?
Corvus.
To Corvus.
Corvus, Arminius, Cineus Viria.
Do you choose to fail the wisdom check for Zone of Truth?
Correct, I will.
And Premius, do you choose to fail the wisdom check for him to probe into your thoughts?
Yep.
Alrighty. He will snap that snippet of information, nod, and say, and what is your role in the Empire?
I am an Imperial Judge, former Battle Mage.
And through this fucked up daisy chain of truth spells, finally, Aurelius will nod and say, sufficient. Alright then. He'll stand up from the chair, set down his mithril staff, walk over to the front door, open it up. The interior is a vast area. He will wait for a couple of moments. A book will float down the corridor to him. He'll grab the book and hand it over to you, Corvus. There's several spells in there, all dwarvish in origin, but obviously I permit you to take the tiny hut and nothing else.
Understood, and thank you so much for your generosity.
Of course, it'll take you a bit of time. The rest of your compatriots could come inside of the magnificent mansion, another dwarvish invention.
Is it all right if we ask you a couple questions on
mansion.
your theory on where another circle might be found?
I haven't one. I know there are those who have attempted to look at the geomantic layout of potential ley line formations, but I've never subscribed to that theory very much. My goal is more on the direct destruction of the beast, rather than attempting to reinstitute whatever schema kept it trapped.
I see. Even despite the fact that the so-called master circle has yet to be found?
Relevant, if we kill the beast.
It still reveals vital arcane information.
Not particularly. I'm sure that your arcanist here has told you. But the ward is written in an intentionally confusing way, and much of it is, by all modern understandings, gibberish, but clearly it does something. This could take decades, a century perhaps, and by then I'm sure we would have had plenty of time to search the mountains. But right now, monsters wander down from the hills every day, every hour, realistically, across the whole of the mountains, and not only civilians, but even judges of the Empire have died in this pursuit. So, ending the beast's life is a quick shorthand to circumnavigate all this shenanigans.
Did you
No.
come down here with Dogheart, or did he just appear one day?
No, we are both proconsuls of the Empire, and decided that the need was too great for us to remain in our offices. I acquired a number of magical items for him to allow him to be able to fight effectively, and I recruited him to my side. The Master of Judges was more than happy to have assistance.
I see.
Now, please, come on in. It's kept room temperature. I'm sure my room temperature is a bit hotter than all of yours, but it should suffice. And he walks into the long foyer. It's essentially a demi-plane. And
the magnificent mansion. That the fact that he just opened it means that he cast it within the last 24 hours, right?
Yep.
He's just casting 7th level spells like that?
Yep.
Bro,
So-
I wish I had the spell slots for that shit.
So you can start to transcribe Tiny Hut. You already have the arcane ink you need, so you're just kind of cooking on that for the next 2 hours, right? Because it's a 2nd level spell.
Isn't that a 3rd level? Let me check.
3rd level? I don't know. You'll figure it out. Anyways, he's going to entertain the rest of the party while you're doing that.
Yeah, fair.
You guys you'll go off to some library. The rest of you guys join him in a dining room. If this food is real, I think is a very potent question that you ask as, you sit down to this delicious Mithdosian feast. It's a bit old-fashioned, but, so is he. And he'll prop his mithril. He carries around his mithril staff everywhere, and he kind of props it up against the table and says, "So, I assume you've registered all your discoveries with the Master of Judges?"
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, yeah, we've just started this expedition, so...
Well, if there's nothing else, I will probably leave you to this and return to my research.
How does Grania
Oh, boy.
feel about being in another wizard demi-plane?
She definitely looks uncomfortable. But so far, this person has not given her a reason to freak out.
Is
so
there
she's
anything you would
comfortable.
like?
Alex, is there an alcoholic beverage of some kind?
No, but he could conjure something.
Yeah, I'll go, get some ale, perhaps?
Something more refined, perhaps?
Nice
What about a
ale?
Copeland mead?
Oh, that sounds good.
Just so you know, this won't sate you, but it will taste like the real thing. It's a real way to lose some weight. Either way, if you have any further requests, this place isn't real in the truest sense, so it can be altered rather easily. And, any entertainment you wish, it'll take a compatriot a couple of hours to copy down the spell.
Oh.
Board games, homes.
These guys are
A bed.
how do these two get along? I'm curious on how Dogheart interacts with this guy. He seems very, very chill. Where's your compatriot Dogheart? He seemed rather on edge when we showed
He's
up.
in the sparring chamber of the mansion.
Oh, never mind, no bed. I'll go there.
I would not recommend it.
No?
It's just
Give
rather
him some
violent.
beefed up.
You could, well, no, not even that. It's the mansion is an illusion. It can't actually hurt you. And while there are illusions that I could bring in that could potentially kill him, there's just no point in risking it. It's stupid. But he does demand some level of risk, and so there are a couple of voidless pits which I could recover him from, but would result in me having to destroy the mansion and recreate it. It's just a lot of work. So I know he won't fall. but the chance of you falling is rather high. So, I'd just rather you not.
What's a void pit?
It's a place where you fall forever. I mean, it's an illusion. It's not real. You're actually just standing in place, but it feels like you're falling forever. With nothing to grab onto.
Huh.
Am I in the same room as them?
No, you're in a little private study. That's the most relaxing place you've ever been.
I'll go have a peek-see at the very least. Is that all right?
Of course, just don't try to attempt the obstacles. They're meant for superhuman agility.
He has that?
A ring I provided him, yes.
Oh. Intriguing.
Well,
Yeah, I
perhaps
do
you
want
wanna-
to go have a look-see, though.
Sure. Yeah. He'll an invisible servant will essentially. I mean, it was there the whole time, but it will essentially garb itself in a toga and then begin to guide you, and you're just following like a floating toga. Aurelius will stand up and say, "Well, as I said, I shall return to my experimentation. Make yourselves comfortable. You probably have 2-3 hours before I kick you out back into the cold.
Well, thank you for your hospitality.
It costs me nothing." And he'll leave the dining room.
He's lying. It definitely costs him something.
Maximus, you are led by this floating toga through the winding labyrinth that is this mansion. It does not follow normal rules of architecture because it's not real. There are, rooms that look straight out of MC Escher, where you have like stairs that kind of go up and then loop back around. You don't really like any of that, but you just follow the toga. If you didn't have that, it would be nightmarish, but you just follow it. And eventually, you are led to a pair of massive double doors in the dwarvish style with all this crazy artwork of, clearly these are doors that he's just observed in his life before. It's a dwarf with an axe buried in the chest of another dwarf screaming at the sky as thunder rains from above. And you open up the door, step inside, and this room is massive. It's the size of a chariot racing stadium, just massive room.
Christ.
And all of it is essentially empty except for a very narrow path that's about 50 feet across. You see what I mean by void pit because you look down over the edges of this like central sort of stone in the center, and it's just black. It's just black all the way down. Throughout the center is a series of obstacles. Now, some of these are like monkey bars, like you hold onto the monkey bars and you swing above the endless void.
Normal shit.
Yeah, and then there's things like a single glass pillar that's like an inch across. And that's the only way to get across the thing. Like, you're just supposed to balance on this tiny little thing and then leap off of it, which you just break it. Like, you just don't know how that's even a thing. And as it gets further on, these get increasingly abstracted. Like, there's a little floating sliver of rock. Like, that's it. That's the entire obstacle. You just have to do something with that. And at the far end, 80 feet away, 800 feet away at the far end, you can see that there is a giant spinning top. It's about 15 feet across. It's spinning, very, very rapidly. And currently that is where Dogheart is. He is clinging to the little nub at the top of the thing as it spins at rapid speeds, attempting to throw him off.
And I imagine he is
clinging on,
dissuading those attempts.
Yeah, I mean, he's just holding on to it. You don't see him making any progress. You're sure there's something he's going to do eventually, but at present, he's just holding on to it.
All right, I'll watch him until he does something, I guess.
Yeah, after the spinning top kind of points in the direction of the continuing parts of the course, he lets go at the perfect time, and he just flings himself 100 feet, slams into a tiny little sliver of rock, and begins to dance along these tiny little slivers of rock further down the course. I mean, we're talking an inch or two wide. You have to stand on the tips of your toes and leap from one to another. It is superhuman in the most literal sense. This is a level of dexterity and strength that surpass what a human being could ever be capable of. And he basically works his way through 2 or 3 other obstacles and then pauses and starts to take a breath because he does still experience exertion. He's these rings, as strong as they may be, don't just literally make you a superhuman. And now 950 feet away, he's just sitting on one of these ledges that are in between the obstacles, sitting on the ground, just taking a couple of heaving breaths.
Damn. Crazy shit. Yeah, I'm not even gonna pretend to be able to try that.
Yeah, I mean, the perks of above a 20 dexterity and strength. Alrighty, so with that said, is there anything else that anyone else wants to do in the next 2-3 hours? Or anyone else wants to do anything else? There we go. In the next 2-3 hours.
No.
Okay. Well, Corvus, you finished copying down the tiny hut. Some other spells in here that you see are like the Private Sanctum spell, Faithful Hound, Prismatic Wall, Black Tentacles.
Magnificent Mansion.
Magnificent Mansion, certainly. But yeah, the only one you have time to copy down is Tiny Hut, because he would know how long it takes to copy spells.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not trying to cheat him. It's
Yeah.
incredibly generous that he lets me. But at the same time, I'm looking at them like, damn, I wish I had more time with this.
Yeah, this book is
Please,
entitled...
just 3 more hours.
Yeah, I mean, this is clearly something he wrote himself, because this is a collection of spells that have been uncovered in the West in the last 10 years or so. From Bondi to other, like, Western mages. There's even a Galadrim spell in here, so this is not just, like, the dwarves found this. This is what's floating through the popular consciousness of wizards in the West. And eventually, each of you will have an invisible servant kind of gently tap you on the shoulder and guide you out to the entrance. Aurelius nor Dogheart show up again, and the invisible servants guide you back out to Rapola, and the door closes behind you. The people are still in their homes, and the gate to the palisade is still open.
Time to go.
Yeah.
It's funny
guys-
that
Oh, yeah.
he said something about how the he said earlier that when you go through the gate, he would have noticed that we weren't human, right?
Yeah.
I'm just, the
I'm
fluttering
aware of
one
the fluttering
exists.
one's existence, yeah.
Yeah, just
He's human to me, damn it.
He's not human, but...
far from it.
Correct. Which means he could have been lying, because, correct, the fluttering one was there the entire time. I mean, Menariel is also, like, borderline alive. That didn't trigger it, so who knows. Either way, you guys walk out of Rapola. The palisade doesn't, like, close behind you. It's not a magical gate. It's just a gate. And, yeah, you guys are back on the trail. After the warmth of the inside, getting dosed in the cold waters of reality kind of fucking blows. You make a little bit of progress towards, like, up into the foothills, getting a campsite. The stench of Rapola carries for quite a distance. You imagine that it probably is pretty effective at attracting monsters just because it is so utterly pungent. And that evening, you make camp in a dismal little cave with thoughts of the immense comfort that those two very, very powerful judges, probably the most powerful judges in the Empire, those guys are sleeping real comfortably tonight, as opposed to you. So, with that, you guys get a short rest. Technically, you've had 2 in a row. And we're mountain traveling again. So, who did we have rolling last time? I think we had Blake rolling. So, we'll have Ethan will roll our encounter dice. Yogi will determine where you guys go, since he's also the ration fella. Do you need a reminder how this shit works, or do you remember?
D100 every day.
Yeah, basically. Alrighty. Well, Yogi, where are we headed today?
Southeast.
Well, you can move the token. You get to move 2 mountain tiles if you move into the mountains.
Wait, why?
Whoop.
You're gonna want to move a little bit more.
Oh,
There you go.
all right then.
Alright. You can move another one if you want.
Can I see what that is?
Aren't we
What's
trying to
this?
go
Yeah,
northish?
you can see that. That
I was gonna
is...
say, why are we going south?
Oh, then we can go north.
Yeah, second tile can be a north one.
Uh-oh.
You do know what this is. This is a valley. So you guys were told a location of 4 wards. You can't actually see anything there. You were just told that that is where one of the wards is. It's labeled Valley Ward because it's in a valley. It's a very creative name.
Wait.
No way.
But yeah, I mean, you can't actually see anything down there. You just know it's supposedly down there. As for our 8.
It's an awful low number.
Okay, so we make no progress today. We enter the mountains, and immediately a thunderstorm crackles throughout the day. Strong winds and rain force you basically back to where you started, and the entire day is burnt, achieving nothing. -5 rations, and
Fantastic.
next day. Let's get our encounter check.
It's all your
Another
fault.
reason to hate Zednius.
Oh my god, it's done.
No, you're okay. We die. We actually dead. Good one.
All right. Well, Zednius, before you move the tile, today the thunderstorm continues, and you guys make 0 progress, -5 rations.
Well, that could have been worse.
All right. Next day, let's get a D100.
Oh, was that it, huh?
Yeah.
Why
Remember,
would
not
they-
all the encounter tables are not sorted by like what one is the worst encounter, 100 is the best. It's completely random because you guys would. I've done this since Dwarf Game because you guys started like metagaming the encounter tables, so I just started making them random numbers. Yeah, literally they're random numbers.
One of them is 1E3.
Like I think the Basilisk was. Never mind, I'm not gonna say that. But the Basilisk was a very unobtrusive number. Anyways, so that's the 5th day that you guys have been out of Mythos. So, okay, Yogi, have you subtracted 10?
Yep.
Okay, subtract another 5 and then move 2 tiles because today your movement is not impeded. Mountain tiles. If you want to move through the valley, you can move basically the whole valley in one day. Okay, perfect. Move to there. That thing in the top right is where Mons Atlia is supposed to be, the Atlian Rangers stronghold. Again, I'm going to keep saying the supposed to be thing because once you actually observe it, I'll adjust it. So, 33.
It's just a hater. It's real.
Okay. Let's get a party-wide survival check. All the fellas.
All the single fellas.
No, all of
can't
them,
roll
not just the
Grania.
single ones. You can't roll what?
Grania,
What about her?
as you said, fellas.
Oh.
Crazy work.
He's one of the guys.
Yeah.
Stop being sexist. She
All
just
right.
likes sushi.
Nice.
So, you guys are making your way basically on like the spine of the mountains, because to your right is this massive valley. I mean, you can't even see the far side of it. This is a big ass fucking valley. To your left is the foothills. So you're walking along this narrow spine of mountain. And there's not a lot of room to maneuver. You guys are finding yourself walking along narrow little pathways. I mean, when I say pathways, these are not like intended to be pathways. You make them into them. We're doing basically mountain climbing at parts of these where we're using like tying each other to rope. And as you are on one of these relatively treacherous, well, as you're approaching what is going to be a treacherous section, Maximus and Primius, you can see that if you go the way you are currently going, so if you attempt to move the way you move today, there is a risk of a landslide. I say risk because it's not guaranteed. You can just see that there's this like very treacherous little spit of rock that you have to cross, and the earth like packed up onto the wall is very loose. There's boulders down there, so landslides have happened before. There's lots of loose earth. There's no guarantee one would happen now. In fact, odds are it wouldn't. I mean, the fact that a landslide would happen right as you're walking past it, but it could. So
The alternative.
the alternative would be to go back basically a whole day's worth of travel and approach from a different angle. Or if you have a more creative way to solve it, go free.
I'll look to the spellcasters, so everyone, I suppose. You guys have a way of creating a super, super loud bang?
Excuse me?
Like a loud noise. Like a really loud one.
Yeah, I understand what you said, but why?
Oh,
There's a chance of a
to make the
landslide.
landslide happen before we get on it. Yeah.
Do you think that's a good idea?
How long is like the risky area?
It's quite long. It basically there's this. So you guys are on a solid piece of rock right now, and there's like this little channel carved in the rock from who knows what, and then there's this about mile-long stretch of just like a 45-degree slanted hillside, and it's like loose dirt essentially. And you could walk across this. Like you could dig your feet in. It's possible to navigate, obviously. And there's another rock formation about a mile across. But this entire area is incredibly sloped. It's loose soil. There's boulders at the base. There's signs of recent slides. And right now it is raining. So everything is just compounding to make it very possible for a landslide to happen. I mean, this is a muddy morass.
How long would it take for the Pegasus to fly us one by
one well, it'd be one by one, mostly because of weight. Not so much space on there. At least for Maximus, because he's so fucking big. I mean, it'd realistically be the rest of the day. But, I mean,
what about,
you wouldn't have to backtrack.
How large is the area that the mountain slide would cover?
A mile?
Landslide. A mile.
They're really big. Yeah, a loose mountainside.
How long... Wait, sorry. A mile is 5,280, right?
Yep.
Feet? Make feet divided by 60.
The Pegasus moves 80 feet each round, I believe.
Correct. But it can't move that at endless pace. It still has like exertion and things like this, even if it doesn't have like the desire to eat or stuff like that.
Okay, that's 528 seconds.
Again, it's not going to be flying at full pace.
If
also
you
travel.
fly at 60 feet, this is for flying the spell, which lasts 10 minutes.
Oh, the flying spell, which is different. Yeah, that is different.
Well, where you can fly it entirely.
Yeah, that's magically powered speed.
So how many of us are there? 4.
4 that can't fly.
Oh, 4 that can't fly.
And if the Pegasus is carrying 1, could it fly at full speed the entire time?
For a mile, yeah.
Granny also has fly she can use.
That's big.
Well, would you be willing to use it is the question.
Yeah. I mean, she gets it back on a short rest.
Yeah.
Well, that would be preferable to me using a high-level spell slot, so... How many people can you make fly? It's 5th, so you could make 3, right?
I believe so. Let me just double check. This is about 1 additional. Correct. Yeah, it's 3.
Right, and then I can make myself fly. No, I'm an idiot. I unprepared that spell. Fuck.
We
well,
can
actually,
the lightest
fine.
people.
Can we
I think Grania and myself can.
Yeah, you both take the Pegasus. Because the Pegasus doesn't have to be fast. As long as it's above, it's fine.
That's a good point.
And then the rest of us take the fly, and we just fly ahead. And what time is it? Should we start making camp?
Soon-ish, yeah.
So we fly ahead for that area, and then we start looking for areas to start making camp, I guess.
Yeah. Alright. Burn the spell slot, Brania. You guys fly over the section of hillside. It's not until about 30 minutes later, when you guys are making camp on the edge of this rock formation, that you guys finally hear this, like, starts with, like, it almost sounds like a groaning noise, and then the entire, like, a decent chunk of the mountainside, not the whole mile, but more like a couple hundred feet, slides down a couple hundred feet as well, and just, like, obliterates that section of valley before coming to a rest again. It's in a process of slow geologic collapse. And you guys get some sleep.
How often does this happen?
And this particular section of mountain, probably very common, because you can see the outcome of it. Like this section of valley is completely covered with basically new soil plummeting down from this section of mountainside.
I was just wondering how the hell is like... Ah, no, I'm not a geologist.
I just know it happens. There's a section of highway in the near where I live. That they basically had to reinforce, like, it feels like every year they have to do some new reinforcements because that shit loves to landslide. I don't know how that's possible. Like, it's a part of a fucking mountain. I don't know how, like, that mountain hasn't just, like, slid into the nearby valleys over the last, but it's how it works. I don't know why.
Have you seen that picture of the guy whose, like, backpack is basically just one strap that's almost ripped off?
Yeah.
Just give up, bro.
Yeah.
Let it go.
All right, so that is the end of the 5th day. Going into this, so -5 rations. Going into the 6th day, let's get our encounter check.
Jaboop.
Roasted
17.
shaboop.
I'm sure that's a very good number.
17.
Probably not bad. Yeah.
All right,
So is Crack Factor JPEG.
heavy rain falls today,
God damn it.
Jesus Christ.
but you make progress. Yogi, you can move 1 tile into the mountains. I told you guys, it's January, okay? There's lots of there's lots of wind and rain, and yeah, it's the
Weather
rainy season.
phenomena.
Yeah, I said it. All right, -5 rations, -a day, and Maximus.
Are we somewhere near the snow line yet, or is that just the glacier? Is the glacier the snow line?
Yeah, this time of year, the snow line technically starts before the glacier, but you guys are a bit below it. Yeah, I mean, because you're not actually climbing mountains
No.
here. You're like walking in valleys and passes and all that stuff. Navigating mountains with your level of
okay.
mountain expertise would be like lethal. So you're just not.
Fair enough.
Game 100.
Alrighty then, another 100.
100.
48.
Shit. Okay, so
Oh, wait,
you're
what
gonna
am I
get to
here?
move 2 today. Just don't move it yet, though. Just let me know which one you're going to.
Wait.
Yogurt.
Did we want to go to this castle, or
I want to check
what
it
did we
out,
want
yeah.
to do? Yeah, okay.
Alrighty, so that's where you're gonna move. So you can move to there, yeah. As you guys begin to travel today, the rain finally lets up. God fucking bless Aurelian soul, the god of the sun. It's a cold day. The sun doesn't do much to warm you, but that's okay because it's not freezing, which is nice. And as you guys are traversing a valley, Zednius, Maximus is on Pegasus' back, keeping an eye out. Corvus, Grania, and Premius are all just kind of walking. Grania, after nearly a year of being a judge, has finally gotten used to walking. You know, she's just kind of, she avoided it for a long time, but really no way to get around these mountains without doing some walking. But Zednius, you're stopping by a stream to fill up your water skin, and basically you're lowering your water skin into the water. You glance over to your right and you notice all these shells like just on the ground, which is weird because there are no oysters in the streams of this mountain. That's a saltwater phenomenon, not exclusively, but there's not any in these streams. I mean, you've been walking around these mountains for, at this point, almost 2 weeks, if you combine all 3 of the different times you visited. You've never once seen an oyster in the river, and yet there are about 30 empty oysters, shells, on the little patch of grass beside you next to this stream. And noticing that, you see the outline of a couple of rocks, a little bit of ash, in a hole. This is essentially, it's relatively incognito because there's no sign for like tents and stuff, but this was a campsite less than a day ago, and they had a bunch of oysters on them.
What the fuck?
How far is the ocean from here?
About 80 miles, I think. 90 miles. There's also no sign of any other rations. This was the entire meal.
Is there any way to tell if do the oysters show like
Well,
obvious signs
unfortunately,
of
only
being
Zednius
opened?
is investigating it.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Apology not accepted.
Yeah, I don't know. How many shells are there? Is it? And I look for footsteps just to gauge.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
How many
Roll me
people
an
have been here.
investigation check for the footsteps. I'll just tell you the shell thing. There's about 50 of them.
Jesus. How many oysters do people eat usually?
I'd say 12 would be a really generous serving, like a really generous serving.
I've never had oysters.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it depends the size of the oyster. These are quite sizable though, so 6 would be a much more reasonable portion. Zednius, you can find the footprints because they're actually not hard to find at all because there was lots of entities here. The footprints have 3 toes with claws at the end, but they are bipedal.
Okay, I'm calling the group over here because there's no way I can figure out what this thing
All the
is.
gangs.
Yeah, you call the gang over, and Maximus from Pegasus back looking down. Almost immediately, you can see these walking trails because the grass is compressed. Like when you have this like direct bird's eye, like looking straight down view, you can see that grass is compressed, leading away from the creek, or I guess leading down the stream, like down to the lowlands.
Huh. That's nifty. They're missing some toes.
Yeah.
How old do the tracks
One
look?
way to look at it.
Very recent. I mean, this campsite was within the last day, based on the ash.
Is it I don't know how you would tell if it's like a reptilian toe or
Close
not.
by.
I don't know how you tell that either.
Well, there's claws at the end, right?
There are claws at the
is
end.
Claws.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah, so that makes me think not mammal. And 3 toes. I mean, maybe it's
Are
like a
there
giant
scales?
chicken or some
Are
sort
there-
of raptor. Oh shit! Could be
Are there
like a
scales lying
raptor.
around?
No. Just the oyster
Uh,
shells.
The oyster shells. Are we all here now?
Yeah. You're all there.
How large were
Do
the
they?
footprints?
How can we?
To answer your question, Yogi, they are about roughly a little bit bigger than a human foot. And I mean like an inch or two. And that could just be the individual you're looking at, but roughly human-sized. And then, Corvus, what was your question?
Whether the oysters look like they were opened with like teeth or something like that.
Yeah, you
They have,
crouch
like,
down.
obvious, like,
Something
scratch marks
notable
on them.
is they smell like salt.
Well, I guess I would expect oysters to smell like that.
Sure. But that would mean that they're likely from a salty environment, and the nearest one of those is almost...
Well, we're already assuming
Sure.
like weird planar teleport
For sure.
shenanigans. Like,
In terms of how they were opened, they were all opened identically. At the base of the oyster, some sort of object, it looks like a shim, like a small. I mean, this is what you you use something called an oyster knife or like an oyster shuck to open up an oyster. It's just like a curved type of knife. They used a much more forceful method of entry, which is to put an object in and essentially crowbar it open, but not teeth. They use tools.
okay, so they're intelligent, somewhat. Presumably. They at
Oh,
least
yeah,
have like
they built a
rudimentary
fire,
intelligence.
so
Oh yeah, I guess that's another.
There's also a large group of them based on the number of footprints.
we're talking like a
where were
dozen
they
or
heading?
like over 20.
Over 20.
All right.
What direction were they heading?
Down the stream, basically following the water.
Which is what direction?
Down into
The
southeast
compass?
into the valley.
Okay. Do we
Well-
investigate?
There's little creatures wandering around. Last
just
time
described
we went
the
investigating something that wasn't strictly in our mission, it went terribly.
Yeah,
Just
they'll run
describe
into
the whole
dog
Beast of
huts.
Atlia arc by saying there's little creatures wandering around.
They'll run into Dog Heart's place eventually. I'll reach, smell the stench and go towards it. So I think we can just. Also, isn't this where the
Going the other
place is
way
supposed
anyway.
to be?
No.
Ranger
This
base?
is as you
Judging-
guys are walking towards it. It's not the same tile
Okay. Yeah.
or hex.
As judges, it's our obligation to take care of things like this, even if they might
Yeah.
be heading towards certain death.
Yeah, that's cool and all, but you didn't care about obligation yesterday, so I'm out.
And for that
That
reason,
was like half a week ago almost.
Well, no, it was literally yesterday.
Oh, unless do you mean Rapola? Because that was literally 5 days ago.
Okay, half a week ago, whatever. Yesterday. I'm getting old. Fuck.
You wanted to kill one of our own because he was mean to you? Is that my obligation?
Uh-oh.
You can decide to be
What's,
obtuse about this. I'm not going to just
I'll not reach
argue with
forward.
you. It's not worth my time.
It's a wise choice. Well, I'm for not going after them and just heading to the glacier. Permeus is for going after them.
I'm for not
I'm
going
for it.
after them. Okay,
Oh,
Granny.
Granny, I'm so sorry.
She looks up at the daunting choice in front of her.
Yeah, I
She's
mean,
right now.
on one hand, if you find them, you're probably just going to kill them all. On the other hand, maybe they're not good guys.
Granny will sign that I think our resources are better spent looking for the glyphs.
Aced! Finally, someone who can think rationally.
They agree with me,
Wise
based.
choice.
Granny is having
Exactly.
PTSD flashbacks to the basilisk, and that's why.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Not exactly rational in terms of.
That's
we
very
leave
rational.
the little valley behind and we begin our way up into the land of tall trees, and now we do cross the snow line. Up here, it's very quiet. The snow deadens most of the sound. The only real sound is the sound of wind carrying down from the glacier, moving between frozen trees. You don't know exactly where this place is. You were just told that at the base of the northern glacier is where the southern base of the northern glacier is where the Atlian Rangers were supposed to have their headquarters. As you guys walk through these dense thickets of pine trees with snow completely covering them, you begin to realize that you guys were told that the Atlian Rangers cannot be contacted with sending, which means there's only really a couple ways that could happen. They're all dead. They're on another plane, but even then, sending can work on other planes, or they have some sort of like lead or some other thing preventing contact with them. And I think that's kind of on your mind when between some of the trees, I think you would all spot at a pretty similar time because it's not very hidden. There is a clearing cut through the trees. You can see stumps on the edge of the clearing, and then the center of the clearing, all these stumps have been pulled up, and there is a complex just sitting here right in the middle of the woods. There's no road that leads to it. It just kind of appears in the middle of the woods. There's a large central structure that is built like a hunting lodge, but massive in scale. Beside it, there's a barracks-looking building. There is kind of like further up on the slopes, there is this kind of villa type structure. There is a lumber yard with like huge amounts of scrap wood and snow piled atop it, and there is a garden which is obviously just like completely covered with snow. And this settlement or headquarters, whatever you want to call it, has been devastated. And just based on like the signs of damage, it doesn't look like one creature. Like the lumberyard, for instance, there are scorch marks on some of these pieces of wood. They didn't ignite because they were too wet or too cold or whatever, but there is scorch marks, meaning something with fire breathing or some sort of fiery abilities. The central building, the entire right-hand side looks like something of immense strength or size just like stepped on it. It's just completely obliterated. Every building has some similar sign of damage. Yeah.
Well, that's no good.
Has anyone investigated this place since this has happened? Or has it just been like they've been unreachable?
You know everything you know.
Based. That's my favorite thing to know.
Well, I say we go in.
Go into the
That way we-
obliterated building,
Oh,
or
and have
go
a
into
look.
the barracks, or go into the villa complex, or go into the...
All the above.
Lennius.
Yo.
I hate having to ask you this every time, but may we rely on your eyes?
I flash the eyes.
Sure.
For this investigation, I think it would be pertinent.
Go.
And then we should probably investigate what looks like the main building.
Would be the central large hunting structure. Hunting
Well,
lodge.
then, anybody vote against looking at that first? Well, we're doing
We
that
all
then.
gotta look at the same thing.
Well, if there's something dangerous in there, it's probably better for us to all be there at the same time. But I guess we could split up if you want to.
I'm gonna bang my hammer on my shield a few times.
Yeah, it echoes through the clearing, but it's deadened by the snow.
Anybody here? I guess we can split up. Unless they're
Seem to be
intending
good.
to ambush us.
Raina is going to stick close to Maximus.
Okay, well then I guess I'll ask individual people.
Alrighty.
Permius, which building are you going to? There is the villa type structure further up on the slope, completely engulfed in snow. There's the lumber yard with like its burned logs and a lumber processing building that is, again, completely covered with snow and derelict. There's a barracks building, and finally there's the central hunting lodge.
I'll go to the one in the very back, the first one you mentioned.
Okay, the villa up on the slope. Okay. Granny and Maximus, which one are you guys searching?
One that's derelict in snow.
That's like all of them.
I'll look down at
Yeah, that's a
Grania.
joke.
Oh,
Felix
good
to
one.
Maximus.
Which one you want to go to?
She'll sign the safer one.
Barracks building it is.
Okay.
She'll nod.
Zenius, which one do you want to search? There's what's left. The garden, which is completely covered in snow, the lumber processing building, which is also covered in snow, and the hunting lodge, which is half destroyed and covered in snow.
Hunting lodge.
Hunting lodge. Okay, he's going for the big building. And then Corvus, I assume you don't mind going to the lumber processing building?
I think I'll follow. If Zednius doesn't mind, I think I'll go with them to the big building. Should be enough of room for us to split up, and in case anything's hiding in the, we're a bit safer.
Okay. We'll start with the nearest structure then, which would be the barracks. Maximus and Grania, the two of you guys clump through the snow. Grania, I think you've seen snow before. I feel like I remember, obviously not so much in Athelorn, but I think you've seen it on another mission. So I think you joined the party in November of 1280, so that would be, yeah, I think so. Or 1279. Anyways, yeah, I think you've seen snow before. But it's really thick here. It's about 2 feet deep, which means it's navigable, and it's not going to kill you. It's not dangerous. Like, you're not going to fall into the snow, but it's makes it a pain in the ass to get anywhere. And so you find yourself following in Maximus's kind of wake, because he's in his plate armor. He's just kind of like, obliterating. he can't lift his legs high enough really to like tranche through the snow. So he's just kind of like dragging through the snow, and you just like move in the wake of his ship. As the two of you near the barracks, this is
the real reason you followed me. Just have an easier time of it.
You know it.
Maximus, make a dexterity saving throw.
What the?
You're gonna slip.
That's unfortunate. What can I do with these? Okay, sick. I have a
Guild Master, I'm familiar.
Oh, that's why that's so high. Because I just added a permanent buff to it. That makes... Oh, shit, that was the wrong thing. But the roll applies anyway.
Okay. So it's still
It's
plus
funny
11. It's still...
No, it's plus 5, so minus 6 off that. So it's a 10.
Okay, it's a 10. All right, you're doing your snow plow shit through the snow. Like, to give you a mental image, you're about 300 feet from this barracks, 60 feet to your left, Corvus and Zednius are working their way through the snow a lot more delicately than you are. And then 100 feet to your left, Primius is very delicately working his way through the snow. And as you step forward, your legs fall and you kind of like spit your arms out to try to catch yourself, and your arms fall straight through the snow as well, and then through the thing beneath you, and you fall into a pit trap. You take 1 falling damage and
Oh my god, he's
8
dead.
piercing damage.
Alright, I'll, interpose my shield between myself and the ground to cut that in half.
Sure. Yeah. As you're falling, because it's a 10-foot pit trap, as you're falling, you pull your shield out and basically put it underneath your legs, and as all the spikes stab up into it.
Alright, so I take, what is that, 9, so yeah, 5 damage.
Yeah. So, Grania, you just hear, "Wah!" and then he falls into the pit.
And it will lean over the side of the pit.
Ow. Yum, yum.
Snow kind of falls
I'll,
into the pit as well, and you're up to your head in snow now.
I'll shuffle my arms off, sort of pat myself. Oh. Alright, I'm okay. How deep is it, Alex?
10 feet, but the
is it
snow
10
has
feet?
filled about 5 feet of it, and if you started packing it down, that basically cover the spikes, essentially, because there's so much snow.
Granny, shovel some snow down here, will you? And I'll start packing it.
How does Mage Hand work exactly? Am I not able to concentrate on moving the snow while also using the Mage Hand? Is it one or the other?
I think Mage Hand requires an action to move, right?
It does.
Yeah, so you'd be too busy concentrating on the hand to move snow yourself.
Okay, then. Yeah, I don't think prestidigitation's gonna help me at all. So, yep, I'll just start pushing.
All right, you start dumping snow down into the pit, Maximus. You use your shield to pack it down, and you make yourself a nice little mound of packed down snow using the unbelievable amounts that she keeps shoveling onto your head. By the time that it's tall enough for you to like jump up and grab the lip and pull yourself out, your head, your shoulders, everything is covered in snow. You are wet. You are cold. It's not fun.
This sucks.
Not poggers.
Can you? I'll turn to Granny. Can you do that thing that makes me not wet anymore?
She'll smile and nod, and then prestidigitation.
Yeah, you dry up. There's still a bit of snow on your shoulders, but yeah.
I'm gonna go grab my lance real quick.
Yeah, you walk back over to the Pegasus, which it's just you were trying to like go into the barracks, so you'd kind of left it back near the sort of the what do you call it, like square? That's not the right word, but like the open area. You walk back over the Pegasus where it's flying just a couple of feet above the ground, above the snow, and you reach up and pull it off the side.
Oh, I have a 12-foot pole now.
Yeah,
I think you know where this is going.
You're going to tap the ground for the next 300 feet.
Yes.
Yes, I've done something very similar to this in real life.
You're gonna do that. I know it does, and you're gonna do that without investigating like why this pit is here or what it's made out of or anything else. You're just gonna.
Oh,
Do you think they're just random fucking pit traps in the wood, Ethan?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Who the fuck made this?
Yes, I'm tired of pretending as
I
not.
was all invested.
It would be the least weird thing in this mountain, okay?
You just cooked it.
This. I'm sorry. This
Smog
mysterious ranger corps leaves traps behind. What an odd
They're
concept.
supposed to be dead for months.
You know, they could have done this months ago, right?
Maybe it'd be worth investigating.
Nah.
I'm just shocked that was your
alright.
first reaction.
I will
That's
grab
rich.
the lance and then go and investigate the pit.
Oh man, yeah. You crouch down at the edge. At the base, you can see that the spikes there are relatively fresh cut wood, in the sense that they're not like covered with green. They're not like rotting. They're not particularly wet. They were whittled and placed there, and even the dirt on the edges here, there was this very thin, like muslin, I think that's the right word, fabric, basically tarp over it that was preventing the snow from getting inside. And to have such a thing, basically, it would not be very hidden if there wasn't snow. So it was probably made since winter started.
Huh. This is new. Or newish.
Granny will shrug.
Who cares?
I mean, someone was here recently. I don't know who'd be trapping this area other than them. So, I knew it. I'm a genius. Yeah.
So now we're tapping.
And I'm stealing their tarp.
Oh my gosh, yeah, you stab your lance down into the base of the pit and you pull up the tarp. It's very, very thin, shitty linen.
No, wait.
Oh. It's not like a good tarp.
No.
It's terrible.
No.
Alright then. I don't want
Tarp.
the tarp then.
Okay.
Oh, they're not leaving
Bunch of
silk in the
vendors.
middle of the road. No.
Okay. Is it tap time?
Yeah, Let's do the tap then.
All right, this tapping is made 1,000 times worse because you're tapping through snow. So you're like stepping forward and then stabbing the lance through like 7 feet of snow and stabbing the ground. And you're doing this for the next 300 feet. So you guys are now instantly at the back of the queue because it's going to take you like fucking an hour to get to the entrance of this barracks. So we're going to cut to.
That's what's important.
We're going to cut to probably
I won't
Primius.
fall into any more pits.
Primius, you walk around the large central hunting lodge. You walk past, or not really past, but like around the whole complex towards this thing up on the ridge. This is not like, picture it's like built into a mountainside, kind of like terrace style. And you can see now that you're a bit closer, there's steam rising from the back of the, at first you think it's smoke, but it's like whitish and there's nothing that's burning. As far as you can tell, you don't like smell smoke or anything like that. So it looks like steam is rising from kind of the back of this structure. And you notice that while snow litters the entire front side of this villa, the back side is snowless.
Curious. All right. The backside's like facing away from me, correct? Or
Yeah, you're approaching from the front right now.
okay. I want to kind of like circle around to see if I could get a view of the back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I said, it's built into a terrace, so if you get up onto the slope on the far side of that terrace, or like on the uphill of that terrace, and you'll be able to look down onto the structure. And as you know, it's kind of rocky, so there's some like bouldering involved, but it's nothing that needs an athletics check. And as you put your foot on a particular boulder, make me a dexterity saving throw.
Nice.
This boulder was primed to roll away. Basically, it was put to like as it like your hand slips and you take 1 bludgeoning damage as the boulder clatters loudly like down 30, 40 feet, 50 feet until it comes to a rest. And you can see that there is a wooden shim. There's a wooden shim placed so that putting any weight on the boulder would be enough to make it slide down.
Interesting. Can I take a closer look at that wooden shim?
Yeah, it's a piece of wood carved into a sort of wedge shape, and it had been put in just enough to keep the boulder very close to rolling down the hill.
That's a whoever made this was pretty smart. Yeah, I guess I'll continue on my way.
You finish climbing the last couple of boulders and look down, and what you are looking at is a natural hot spring that has been harnessed. The back part of the villas have an open courtyard. This open courtyard is a series of springs. They are hot enough that snow nearby just melts. It never forms snow properly. And there are 3 separate pools. Clearly, these pools existed naturally, and then this villa was built around them because they're not like pools in the square shape. They're just like natural pools, circular shaped, jagged rocks. The water kind of boils here. It looks really fucking hot, borderline unpleasant. You can see a series of like sauna rooms adjacent to it where, presumably there'd be some way to get that there. It looks like a villa of hot spring luxury.
All right, I'd like to enter the villa through the back end.
Yeah, you look on this, so the easiest way to do it would be to like slide down this rock face, because again, it's terraced, and then like onto the roof and then down into the courtyard. Is that the method of entry you want to do?
Yeah.
Okay, make an athletics check or acrobatics. Okay, you slide down, you leap, you roll onto the like kind of tiled roof, and then you drop down the last 10 feet, and instantly, you get a face full of steam rising up from this hot spring. Behind you, there's a kind of like an overhang area. There's a series of benches and lockers and the like. To your left, there's these like private sauna rooms, and you can see a bunch of rocks there that presumably you just like pour the boiling water there to make some steam. To your right, you can see what look to be just like sleeping chambers. Again, it's a very open floor plan because it's a villa, and so you can see almost, I'd say 3/4 of it. The front quarter has like actual doors and stuff, but you can see 3/4 of the structure from where you're standing.
Is the front door trapped in any way?
Well, you can't see the front door. You can't see the front quarter of the building.
All right, I want to go in like where the front would be, but I also, yeah.
Sure. So there's 2 closed doors. You can pick the left or the right. Either way, you need to open up a closed door to reach into the front part of the building.
I'd like to open, I guess, the right door, but I'd also like to open it where I'm not standing directly in front of the door as it opens.
Sure. So you're standing to the side.
Yeah.
All right. Make a dexterity saving throw.
All right.
Oh wait.
God damn it.
Oh, he anticipated that.
As you open up the door slightly, you don't hear a sound from the far side of the door. Instead, you hear a sound from behind you and in front of you. So from basically the sides of the entrance on your side, as a crossbow bolt flings from both ends. Since you pass, you will take half damage from this crossbow bolt. 4 piercing damage.
1, 2, 3, 4. All right.
And
I'm gonna.
yeah, it like hit your shoulder and then deflected.
All right. Is there any more as I like stand behind the door and like walk back to pull it open?
Well, I mean, yeah. So the like I said, there was one crossbow bolt behind you on your side of the entrance that shot into your back, and then there was the one on the other side. So there is now a crossbow bolt buried in the door from the one that was on the far side. So regardless of whether you'd opened the left or the right door, or hidden behind it, or anything else, it still shot you in the back. But no additional mechanisms go off as you open it fully.
All right.
Yeah, you can step
I
inside
missed-
this front quarter area. It's basically a series of rooms. You're not sure what the purpose is / was because they look essentially empty at the present time. The front door, you can see that there's a very obvious trap mechanism. I mean, from your side, it's very obvious. From the front side, it wouldn't be very visible. There's a piece of string connected to a keg.
That's pretty dangerous.
Why? It's just a keg.
So true.
You don't even see
Yeah.
any explosive mechanism or
Rip
anything.
it.
It's a keg of ale.
I think the implication
Just
is
give it
there.
a tug.
It's
I'm
got
gonna cup you in a liquid.
alcohol in it.
No, nothing else.
Yeah, please.
Closed.
But yes, the keg is above the entryway. And obviously, if you pulled the string, the keg would tilt over.
All right. As I walk through, I want
Like
to
acid or something.
be careful on any sort of
Napalm.
tripwire or like objects that like look convenient. Well, not so conveniently placed in the middle of the floor,
Sure. Perception
Or-
check.
or people.
Or people. Monica.
Or
Monka.
humanoid.
Can it be an investigation check?
No, because you're not touching things. You're just looking. All right. As you walk across the foyer to make your way to the keg and the front door, make a dexterity saving throw.
No way.
All right.
All right. As you step onto one of the stone tiles of the floor, you feel it fall, and you're expecting this. I mean, like, come on. Sorry, it's not so much it falls; it's just like it starts to compress a little bit. So you instantly jump backwards, and the tile essentially like gets compressed slightly, and nothing happens.
No way.
No way. All right. I'm also looking out for pressure plates.
And how are you looking out for those?
By touching
Any
He's like asking passers-by.
sort of like, I guess, jutted out rocks.
Okay. I will say the tile you just stepped on
I,
was not jutted out until you put your weight on it.
All right.
Blake, I have a way you can do this. It's just super slow.
Yeah, I don't care.
Based.
Oh my god.
Okay then.
Yeah, you reach the door and the string connected to the keg.
What's in it?
Oh, there you
What's in
go.
the keg?
So you're taking the keg up off the door frame and like opening it.
Uh-oh.
No,
Okay, then how are you?
No.
How the fuck are you gonna know what's in it?
Keep sniffing.
sniffing. Yeah.
You smell. The best way you describe it is an alchemist's laboratory.
That's all
That's that's alchemy fire right there.
I think that's a good sign.
You're telling me that they trapped a door so that if anyone opened the front door to their sauna, they'd have napalm poured over them? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah.
I don't
That
know.
just sounds
You
patently
made the
absurd.
trap, bro.
That just sounds patently absurd.
All right. Is there
That
anything
just
else in
sounds
this room?
rude.
Like I said, I mean, there's 3 adjacent rooms that have like archways. There's no doors, just like archways connecting them to this one, but it seems empty. Like this has not been used for its intended purpose in a very long time.
All right.
It doesn't look to have suffered much damage though.
What's the closest door to me?
The front door.
Besides that one.
You haven't found another exit yet.
You said there were 3 doors. I've been
Yes.
through. Oh, the two that okay.
led into the front area, and then
Is
Yeah, the front
so is
door.
this just like an empty room? What's in here?
I told you. Yes, this and the 3 adjacent rooms that you can see through open archways are empty.
All right.
But is this room
I-
empty?
And
But
how
is
many
this
hidden
room-
things in this room?
All right, I guess I'll go back into the sauna.
Okay.
Guess
Yeah.
I'll die.
As I said before, there are like a locker and locker and bench setup, a sort of sauna setup, where like several individual sauna rooms, and then just like a relaxation, maybe sleeping chamber. Again, right now there's nothing in it. It's just like stone floor and wall.
Okay. Across, I want to
So-
go into the sleeping chamber, but before I go in, I want to investigate across the door to see if there's a crossbow.
There is no door.
Try.
There's only an archway, but I get what you're saying. Roll an investigation check. You look for any sort of tripwire or mechanism or anything like that. At about head level, you do find a very... I mean, you can't see it. You felt it, though. You can see feel a very thin wire.
All right. I'd like to disarm the trap.
How do you disarm the trap? There's a very thin wire at head level. What is the next step?
I guess I step way out of the way and I
Yeah.
use a long thing to trigger the trap.
Alrighty. A piece of wood comes swinging down at about 20 miles an hour at head level and basically just swings and whooshes and swings and swings and swings and swings and swings, and then it runs out of momentum and it just kind of hangs there. It's a spike about the size of a human head.
That would hurt.
Is it a friendly looking spike?
Is it a what?
It's a very friendly.
That was a friendly looking spike. No, not very.
What the?
All right. Time to. I want to get low as I go into the.
Or you just stoop your head a little bit. Yeah, I mean, it's an empty room.
All right. Time to go to the last area, and I will do the same thing to investigate for traps.
What's the last area?
Didn't you say there was a third area?
There's...
That room.
So, front quarter of the building had 3 rooms in like a central foyer. The back area had this large central courtyard with all these saunas and stuff. Then there are that's confusing. A large central area with hot spring pools, then a sauna area, then benches and lockers, and then a potentially sleeping area, and that's when you just searched.
Okay. And can I see into like the sauna and locker areas?
Yep.
There's just nothing.
Well, I mean, there are lockers in the locker area, and by lockers, I mean more so like pieces, like wooden cubbies with tiny little doors that don't have locks on them.
Yeah, I'd like to go to the lockers and...
Sure.
Okay. Before...
There's benches here to sit down maybe after you relax or...
Before I start
whatever.
opening them willy-nilly, I'd like to see if any of them are like ajar or look tampered with.
No,
or,
they all
like,
look closed.
scratched.
There's no locks in any of them. Obviously, none of them had to be forced open because there's no locks in any of them. All of this looks around the same age. Like none of these are new doors or anything like that.
I'd like to investigate for traps.
Okay. There are 18 cubbies here. 6 of them have some sort of wire attached to the opening mechanism. You can open
how
them
are
very
they-
slightly and see the wire.
Oh.
That's
Do I
about
see
it.
what the
The entire
wire's
show?
attached to?
No, because you'd have to open it more to see deeper into the cubby.
Hmm.
I think you should open it more.
I can open it a little bit more.
Just a peek. What can I possibly hurt?
Okay. I'd
Dies.
like to look in the ones that aren't trapped first.
Yeah, they're all empty.
Okay.
Me too, buddy. Me too.
For one of the ones that aren't trapped, I'd like
Aren't
to
trapped?
attempt to that are trapped. I'd like to attempt to disarm the trap by sticking a dagger in and cutting the wire.
Okay. You cut the wire. Nothing happens.
Okay. And as I open the cubby, I'm going to like stand against the cubbies as I open it, so I'm not like sticking my head in as I'm
Sure.
opening it.
You do that.
Does anything happen?
Nope.
I look inside.
All right. Inside, there is a little
die.
piece of wood.
Is it gonna shoot out if?
Nope. It's not. It's just literally. I don't mean a mechanism. I don't mean any of that. It is a piece of wood, like a kite handle, that was stringed to the door. As in,
What?
if you opened this cubby, the little piece of wood would like very gently. I mean, like I guess as hard as you open the cubby, the piece of wood would come out. It's not a trap. Like it's a piece of wood.
Oh. All right. I'm gonna. Well, I'm not gonna say the trap is the same. It's the same thing for all the cubbies, so I'm gonna do the same thing for each of the cubbies. Like cut it before I open it.
I'm
Okay.
not gonna say it's all the same, but I'm gonna treat it all the same.
The next one, you lean down, you cut it. Make a dexterity saving throw.
All right.
No wait.
All right. You cut the wire. Instantly, you hear a hissing noise from inside, and a creature emerges to bite you. A 13 is a pass, so you only take half damage. The piercing damage is only 1. However, you only get about half the venom in you, so you're going to take 15 divided by 2, 8 poison damage, so 9 damage total, as a very angry snake emerges and bites your hand, managing to pierce through the leather for 1 piercing.
All right.
The snake is pretty small. It's like a pit viper.
Do I need a roll to combat to like annihilate this thing?
No, you can grab it and bash it against the cubbies. It's not very
Okay.
hard.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. I will do that.
All
Poor
right, you do
snake.
that. It is a bloodied
Uh,
mess as you fling it aside.
Look in the cubby.
It is empty.
So how is the wire?
Second snake.
It was literally the wire was just like
Eek.
dangling weakly in the back of the thing. It was like tied around the edge to give it a little bit like around the very very back. There was a little gap between the wood because it wasn't very well made. It was tucked in there to give it a little bit of tension, but it wasn't attached to anything.
I can't believe the snake didn't make any noise when I opened it.
It did. It hissed and bit you when you opened it.
No, I mean like before when I cracked it
Oh.
open.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's not a rattlesnake.
That's true. Do I have anything that creates light? Oh,
Your eyes.
my eyes.
Your eyes?
Yeah.
Yeah, my eyes. Okay.
Pretty handy.
Does that help at all when I look in? Can I see like more things? Than
No,
I
it's
normally-
the problem is how little you're opening the thing, not like the light. Like you're opening a tiny sliver, just enough to see this like faint, like golden reflection from your eyes onto the string. The fact that it exists, because it's not like it gives you any tension. It's just like pure visual diagnosis. And then at that point, it's like again this tiny little sliver of it that's open because you're worried about pulling on something and triggering a mechanism.
All right. The next one, I'd like to open it a little bit more to like get some light in.
So you're risking triggering the mechanism to see better.
Yes.
Okay, you open it a little bit more. You hear like a little like a faint little grinding noise from inside the cubby, but nothing else happens.
Like,
Do I see anything?
Yeah, you see a piece of wood in there.
Okay. Is it the same thing as the first one?
Yeah,
All right. I open the cubby.
you open it.
Nothing.
Snake number 2.
Yeah,
All right. I will do this same thing for the next one.
yeah. The rest of them are all the same as the first.
Okay. And there's nothing like that in there.
No, and it's incredibly time consuming to do this procedure for all of them.
All right. Nothing in any of them. All right.
Correct. These seem to have been exclusively trapped in the way they were to waste time.
You fell for the oldest trick in the book.
I don't know if that is the oldest trick.
second
I
oldest.
feel like the oldest trick in the book is just like, stealing, blatantly
time
stealing
you're
something. Fine, it's the 13th oldest one. All right.
I did the math. Yeah, that's about right.
All right. I think it's time to leave because it seems like someone's just trying to waste my time.
Yeah,
No
that's-
way.
Seems pretty reasonable. Well, that took you about an hour, so we are going to cut back to Corvus and Zednius. The two of you are headed towards this central hunting lodge, and like I said, there is like some immense weight just destroyed half of this lodge. So you can actually see like a bisected cut through half the building. It's 3 stories tall, heavily furnished, but also heavily devastated. So do you guys want to approach the actual front door or through the, obliterated side?
I think the obliterated side.
Yeah, it's a lot more open than the than the foyer would be.
More
Do
vision.
we know anything about the traps? Did
No.
anybody else tell us anything?
Nope.
Okay.
I mean,
Just making sure.
timeline-wise, Permeus is hasn't even gotten to the villa yet.
Yeah, but Maximus.
And then Maximus, he didn't. He just said, "I'm going to start tapping my way to the barracks."
Yeah, we didn't notice him falling into the pit. Okay.
No, I mean, he didn't make a big deal out of it. He just kind of fell down and was like,
I'm
"Oh,
gonna
okay."
I'm gonna have my eyes on magic the whole time.
Yeah, of course. Sure. As you guys make your way around towards the bisected edge of the building, make me a dexterity check, Corvus. Saving throw.
Check
sorry.
or save?
Save.
Okay.
Yeah, the ground falls out from beneath you. You fall. You take one falling damage and 4 piercing damage as you fall into a pit trap, and it stabs through the soles of your boots into your feet.
Wait, that's my slippers of spider climbing. No.
Okay. It
They
can't
destroyed
pierce
now?
magical items. No, it can't pierce magical items. It just stabs them really hard enough to make your feet bleed beneath.
Okay. Just go, ah!
And you just... Yeah, Zednius, one moment you're
What
walking...
happened to that, Alex?
Yeah.
No, you're way too far away. One
I'll
moment you're walking
help
Zednius,
you.
the next moment he's down in a pit.
Yep, I'm gonna help him out and investigate the pit just to get a good idea of. Okay, so there's man-made traps.
Yeah, you reach down, you help pull him up and out, and it's a man-made 10-foot dug hole with fresh wooden spikes at the bottom that was secured by a very thin sheet of muslin to keep the snow from falling in.
Looks like we'll have to be more
Okay.
careful.
Yeah, we will have to be.
And then
so much
continue on
snow.
towards the.
Are you tapping the ground ahead of you, or are you just walking?
So produce flame.
Yeah.
I can throw it. What if I throw it I crouch down and I throw it basically parallel to the ground to can I melt a layer of snow like that?
You could melt so the flame's just passing above it, so maybe you could start wetting the snow, but I believe it was 2.5 feet of snow. So the answer is it'd take a long time, way longer than tapping.
I don't have anything to
I don't
tap
have a
with, do
pole
you?
or anything. Yeah.
Then I think we're just raw dogging it, right? I mean,
Will it be your? I mean, unless you want to use your sword.
I don't think my sword's long enough. I would still be
you'd just be
crouched
tapping
down.
the ground right in front of him. Yeah.
Wait, in the winter equipment,
Uh-huh.
there is
Mittens,
What's in there,
ropes, crampons, big winter.
I've got a
puffy
ladder
jackets.
we can use.
a ladder would work.
Yeah. Each of you takes half the ladder, and you just start to stab the snow in front of you. You do trigger.
No, what about?
Yeah.
Well,
A
actually,
shovel?
maybe the ladder.
Yeah, I mean, sure.
Yeah,
shovel, pickaxe. Yeah, you guys move forward around the edge of the building. You do trigger one more trap. You basically pierce the muslin, and that's enough for the whole thing to collapse, and snow just dumps down into the pit, and then you can walk around it. Eventually, though, you step onto the foundation of the hut, or of the hunting lodge, so don't have to worry about pit traps anymore, unless they dug into the foundation, which would be fucking insane. And you can see this bisected image. So basically, the top floor of this building was residential. It's just and it's still, unlike, the empty villa where Permeus was at, this is highly furnitured. Now, it's destroyed. Again, third floor, imagine a fist of God came down and smashed the building in half. You can see the third floor is starting to collapse under its own weight, so it's clearly been like this for a while. You can see beds, again, mostly turned over or just like chaotic. You can see dressers, spilling over, just gorging their contents. On the second floor, it's like borderline administrative. Like you can see like maps and ruined papers and just like all sorts of things like that. And then the first floor looked to be equipment. Like you can see half an armory is still intact, and it's like filled with obliterated crossbows and like mostly splinters of wood. Anything that was valuable was clearly taken. There's also furniture that's like been turned over or smashed or gotten like soaked with snow and other things. And you can basically see the rest of the building from this like cross section. It has been just obliterated.
What can I tell? Like, what made it get obliterated? Did something fall on it? Did it?
Well,
the foundation wasn't good.
Yeah,
It fell in on itself.
Yeah, the lodge was about 40 feet wide and about 60 feet high because I had or maybe like 100 feet high because I had this very like triangle shape, like a very acute triangle shape to it. So snow would roll off the sides, and something big destroyed the entire right half of that. So the whole structure is soon going to basically sag and collapse. As to what destroyed it, you can start to look at like all the timbers around. Like you and Corvus can start to investigate the area. It's going to take a bit of time, but you'll start to get this image of something massive basically running into the side of the building, because it's not like it came from above. That's the analogy I was using just to give a mental image. What actually happened though is you can see as you look at timber after timber after timber, something impacted the building from the side, whether it's a boulder or a person or something huge, or heavy or strong or fast, something like that, hit the building from the side and obliterated about 20 feet of it before it ran out of momentum and then stopped.
That's just... What would even be of that size? Jeez. Giant?
Beast of some kind?
Something.
Maybe from Atlia?
Nah, that's crazy.
I will say this search would have taken long enough that Primius, you could have worked your way down from the villa and spotted the two of them like picking at timbers and trying to like figure out the angle of approach and all that stuff.
I'll head... Where's Grania and
Maximus and Grania are
are.
over in a barracks. They're vibing. Technically, they probably would have finished their search by now, but we'll cut to them in a bit.
Is
I
there
was
any-
gonna say I would have like
I'll
15
head
minutes
toward-
in. I was gonna give up.
Sure, but we're not that far in. We're gonna cut back to you in a little bit.
All right, I will.
Okie dokie.
I'll head towards Corvus and Zenius.
I mean, so Zednius has his glowing eyes on. He mentioned trying to figure out what the impact was, and Corvus is mostly helping him in that endeavor. And you can see the two of them like lining up support timbers and like figuring out where the impact came from, how strong it was, recreating all the things I just mentioned.
Yeah, also I would like to just call out once more. Anybody here? We're judges with the Empire.
It echoes and then is deadened by the snow as Primius crunches across the
Yeah.
snow and joins you guys.
I was thinking maybe they were just hiding earlier because maybe they just, assumed we'd be hostile.
The changelings might change the believability
Well, yeah, I
of that
guess.
statement.
That's correct, but it was worth a try.
Also, I have reason to believe that whoever set up these traps are just wasting our time. Clearly, they trying to stall whoever they are.
I mean, some of the traps looked like they were supposed to be lethal. I don't know if they're just wasting our time.
Oh, well. A lot of the traps I ran into at the villa were purely to stall investigative traps.
Seems like he's drew the straw. Sorry about that.
It's alright. It happens. The point is, I think we're getting lured away from something by looking through these. I just don't know what yet. I don't know if that's helpful or not. It's just something that should be shared.
I suppose.
Well, while you
I'm-
think about that, we'll cut back to Maximus and Grania. Maximus, you tap and plow and push your way onto the barracks. This takes about as much time as Primius's entire search of the villa. up on the hillside. It doesn't take quite as long as the
hour?
forensics. Yeah, I mean, it's you're going very slowly, which, does have its benefits because you do trigger 4 additional pits. You basically pierce the muslin, and then, the snow comes plowing in. This barracks is heavily, heavily trapped, at least leading up to it. There's a slight little porch that you... Okay, wait. Are we tapping literally everything, like including... Because this is going to slow us immensely. You said 15 minutes is when you were going to give up your search, but if you're tapping every single board that you're about to step across, this is going to take ages.
No, I'm not gonna go onto the porch.
Oh, okay.
So this, how big is this building?
Yeah, so you and Grania are standing at the foot of the porch on a patch of compressed snow because you guys have been compressed it. The building is about 15 feet wide and looking out to the side about 40 feet long. There's a big gouge taken out the left side of the building, so you can kind of see a little bit into it. And it looks to be still furnished, but in a highly disordered state. There's like a lot of individual rooms with doors, and at the very back, just looking through this gouge in the side of the building, you think you can see like a common room, but again, furniture's turned over and all sorts of fucked up.
What are the walls made out of? Sorry, bad question. How sturdy do they look?
Not especially. This looks like borderline a temporary structure, or at least it was built really quickly.
All right, I'm gonna turn to Grania.
We'll turn to Maximus.
Little lesson. If someone's trapped a bunch of shit, go the way that they're never expecting you to go through, and I'm just gonna bash through one of the walls.
So you're like climbing up to the porch and bashing through the wall, or you're walking along the edge and like breaking into one of the side walls?
The edge.
Okay, yeah, you walk along the edge of the building, you grab your warhammer and you just slam it into the wall. It's wood, so it like splinters and cracks, and you didn't hit a stud, so you just break open the wood and then you use the back of the warhammer to just like drag it down. And it's not as good as a sledgehammer, but it's not bad. It's not bad for sure. And you start to like basically like tear open the wall here. And this is a small little dormitory room. There's a single bed. There's a single little wardrobe. Again, all like either like rotted in the case of like the sheets because they're semi-organic, but like the wood is just kind of like ill taken care of. There's also this smell of like musk or like animal kind of smell in the room.
Huh.
All
right. Nifty.
Oh, also, this door is closed, so you can't see out into like the central hallway. And you can see that there is a string attached to the door, which then goes underneath the bed, and you can see a small little keg there.
Ah. Can I just lift the bed up? And just like flip it, basically?
I mean, it's a bit heavy, but you're pretty strong. So yeah, I mean, yeah, you reach in, you lift the bed. It's made out of like, it's a solid wood frame, so it's pretty fucking heavy. But yeah, you can lift it and toss it, and it basically goes across. It basically fills the other half of the room because it's not very big. So yeah, you toss the bed over.
And the purpose of this string is it gonna like dump it on the floor, or is it gonna like fling the keg onto someone?
It would just basically pull on the keg and make it fall over, and there's no like cork. There's just like an open part of the keg. So yeah, the liquid would spill onto the floor.
All right. Can I just like cut the string and then pick the keg up so it doesn't tip over?
Yeah, I mean, you pull yourself into the room,
or is that gonna...
No, that should work fine. You pull yourself into the room through the hole you made. Right. It kind of like scratches at your plate. You walk over, you cut the thread. The smell immediately hits you. This is the smell of urine. That container contains urine. Now, it's probably not human urine because it doesn't smell... It smells a bit too pungent for that, but it's definitely urine.
Okay.
Okay, but like...
What
is it?
I'm gonna... What?
Oh, I'm just so confused. How, if it's not human urine, who the fuck has like other urine just like stored?
Hunters.
It's true.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Yeah, they do.
Wait, is that actually useful
Yes,
for hunting?
yes, it's a very, very good bait.
Oh, I thought it would like be the opposite.
It can be. It depends the species. Also depends the
Oh.
time of year. Depends when you collect the urine. Depends on a lot of factors.
If you eat
Well,
celery
you
or
guys
not,
know a lot about animal piss.
asparagus.
I've played some hunting games in my day.
Yeah, I played some hunting games, sure, buddy.
It's true. It's literally true.
No, it sounded like you were gonna say you hunted in real life. And you
No,
were like,
no.
games,
No,
guys.
no.
I didn't actually kill animals, guys.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I mean, Maximus would be familiar with this hunting technique,
Anywho.
obviously. It's a very common one.
Yeah. Yeah, they're just fucking. He's fucking taking the piss, literally. This is. Yeah. I'll look at Granny up. They're just. Whoever set these up is just fucking wasting our time. All right, jack shit in here.
Funny.
Yeah, I mean, you just like set the keg back down and crawl your way out of the hole you made.
Yeah.
All right, you crawl your way out and you kind of look around and you can see Primius, Corvus, and Zednia standing on like the ruined foundation of the central hunting lodge. Like Corvus is crouched down, Zednius is like arranging some beams, and they're all kind of chatting.
What do you think they're doing?
Granny will shrug.
Let's go find out, I suppose.
You tapping?
Fuck no, that took way too long. Besides, my big ass snow trail should still be there.
All right, roll a dexterity.
Yeah. Yeah, you can follow your own trail and then Hecko's and Corvus's and Zednius's, and you can find that they also encountered 2 pit traps, and you can obviously walk around them because they've already been triggered. And soon enough, you step up onto the foundation, your like metal boots clanging against the stone of the foundation.
They're
And you're all back
just
together.
wasting our time here, man.
That's what I'm saying. Well, there's only one more spot, which is the garden.
And the
but
lumberyard.
I can't imagine. And the lumber yard.
Lumber.
But I think this does prove I was right.
But
There
it's
is
still alive?
someone here.
Well,
You think so? This could have
These
been
traps
like.
aren't. These traps aren't old.
No.
Okay, we did like our investigative effort, right?
Yeah.
So can we tell how long ago was this attack?
Quite a while ago for the central lodge, because like the initial impact happened, obliterated all these boards. They've then since been weathered, like exposed to rain, and like some of the boards that didn't want to get wet and now getting wet, they're starting to like rot and smell a bit. Also, the main structure is sagging. Like you give it, you know, neither of you are structural engineers, but you don't give it very long before this entire lodge like collapses into the void left by this major impact. So months ago.
Major impact.
Your answer would be months ago.
Okay.
In any of the reports about this place, was there any mention about any additional structure that sustained any sort of impact or damage?
You guys got one report, and the report said that the headquarters of the Atlean Rangers is on this other side of the northern glacier. That is all the information you got. Also, I will say that snake was alive, which means it must have been put in there pretty recently.
Yeah.
I didn't think of. Yeah, I forgot about the snake.
One of the traps I encountered had a snake in it, which means someone definitely put it there, and that snake was alive. So someone's here.
Okay.
Well, the only problem is they're definitely a ranger, and they're definitely a master at blending in, and so we have a lot of stuff to cover.
Oh,
I mean, we could just
I
start
doubt we're gonna
destroying everything. That would also like lure them out quickly, but would also destroy everything, you know.
Why
Like,
would
we
that
could
lure
flash
them out?
If there's no place to hide, they can't hide, you know.
There's an
Wait,
infinite
there's no
amount of
shot
places
they're
to hide.
here on the compound. There's no way.
Well,
You think
someone
so?
had to keep the snake alive, and if so, they're clearly protecting something or stalling for something.
I agree.
I'm not so
I think they're
sure.
very close.
You think they trapped the
Yeah,
entire
close,
place?
but not.
Like either on the premises or like in like a hidden place somewhere, or there's like a very close. There's like a cave or something. I'm gonna start sending my familiar, just flying around looking for like very close to the ground, looking for recent tracks.
Okay.
Within the last like day or so.
I'd like to make my way over to
mean-
the garden. Actually, the lumber yard.
Okay. Long.
What do you mean? How long?
I said alone.
Alone.
Question
Well,
mark?
I mean, there's
I'll
an
go with
open
Primus.
invite. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Zednius and Primus
Before they
walk off.
go,
Yeah.
I'll mention, if someone's trapping something to keep you away from it, generally the traps are gonna do you serious harm. If someone's trapping just to waste your time, but they're just gonna waste your time, which is what all of these seem to be doing. There was a jar of piss under a bed
I
in the one
understand
I
that.
went into.
I just want
That's
to do a
not
thorough
keeping
job.
something. All right.
All right. Well, Zednius and Primius, you begin to walk over to the lumber yard. There are, 4 massive, massive piles of firewood. Well, logs. I mean, they're big logs that were meant to dry out. They obviously didn't because winter came, and they were never processed. Then there's a large, kind of long, log processing building. You can see like a ramp or like a sled where you would lower the logs into, which then leads into the structure. Both ends of the structure are open. So you don't need to like open up the doors to get access to it. You could walk in on the sled on either side. As you walk across the field to reach it, you don't fall into any pits or anything like that.
I'd like to check the doorway for any sort of tripwire.
Which doorway?
I guess the entryway to the lumber yard.
Well, so there's no entryway. There's no like fence or anything. There's just a yard.
Oh, it's just,
there's these big old logs, and then there's a lumber processing building, which does have like a sliding door, but there's also the 2 other open ends, so there's not much to hide.
You're right. Okay. Are there any like? I'm gonna still investigating for traps somehow. So I guess I'm looking for like piles of like debris that are hiding like bear traps or animal traps of some kind, or
Sure. I mean,
some kind.
the snow makes all this very difficult, but sure.
Okay.
Alrighty. Yeah, I mean, the lumberyard actually seems totally untrapped in comparison to the rest of the compound.
Well, do you see anything, Zenius?
It just looks like an abandoned building to me. I don't know. I'll do an
Yes.
investigation.
There ain't been one magical thing in this whole damn place.
Except for the ranger right behind you.
No.
Yeah, I don't see shit.
Yeah, I mean, this is a untrapped lumberyard.
All right. Is there anything notable in the lumber yard, or is it just wood?
It's wood.
All right. I guess I'd start to walk around.
Cool.
If that's all, then
Now what?
I think
Do we go to
we head
the
to the garden.
last place?
Yeah, I mean, the only reason you can even tell there's a garden there is because this one actually does have like a fence, so it looks like there's like this ring of snow around a smaller, like lower plane of snow. You guys are basically just walking across like snowy land. The 2 of you are within sight of the destroyed half of the building. You plonk across the snow. You can kind of vault the fence, and you can feel snow beneath you.
All right. What kind of things were they planting here?
You start to push aside snow. Nothing, which is interesting because if everything went to shit at the beginning of winter, you would expect there to be, well, to be honest, basically any time of year, you'd expect there to be something like dead mint or something like just anything. I mean, they're shit they grow all year round. The fact that there's nothing means they harvested it to the bone, as it were.
Well, but they're hunters, so...
Yeah, for sure. But it means that before winter came, like before everything died, they harvested everything. And then it just kind of got chilled.
I'd like to see if I could find like a underground cellar door that's covered by snow of some kind.
In the garden?
Like where, yeah, I'm looking for a place where they'd like keep all the food.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's just like underground or
Are
something.
there any irregularities in the snow, like where the snow is less tall than it should be, or where it looks intentionally shoveled? Other than the stuff we've done?
Interesting. Make a perception check, Hecko. And Permeus, you search the garden very extensive. Nope.
It's a 17 plus 5, not plus 8.
Not 20.
Okay, so it's a 23, Permeus?
Yeah.
Okay. You search the garden extensively. It basically is what it seems to be. I will say one little note would be that you find animal tracks in the snow around the garden. The tracks indicate let me go find it. Some sort of flying animal that is quite large, because you see these like 4 talon marks on the ground near the garden, and then there's no other tracks anywhere around it. The only explanation being that it can fly. And it's big, very big. Not as big as the dragon, but, bigger than a bird, bigger than an eagle, bigger than most flying things.
2 eagles.
So true, bestie.
I mean, actually, that is a very good approximation in size. Yeah.
Yeah, if you're American, it is.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have eagles in here. What are you even talking about right now, bro?
I've never seen an eagle in real
And
life.
That's
albatross.
crazy, because you have them. You have so many. You have
No,
like more...
yeah, like, do you have any idea how, like, hard it is to find those?
I guess that's fair. As for Corvus, you look around, and, it's one of those things where you're just, like, standing on the foundation, looking at the terrain. It's not that there's something as obvious as a lack of snow. That would be, frankly, noticeable immediately because this whole area is blanketed in snow. It's that snow rests in like a very natural way, and more importantly, it's pillowy. And even if you're like the best hunter ever, you can't it's really hard to make the snow pillowy again after you've stepped on it. And you don't see anything obvious like tracks. Who you're hunting for, who you suspect them to be, is a bit too talented to leave something that obvious. Instead, this is more like an intuitional thing. The lumberyard actually looks completely untouched. Everything else here has some degree of like, oh, there's creatures that have been here. Oh, there's traps that were there. All these other things. But the lumberyard, with the exception of, the footprints from Zednius and Permeus, looks pristine. Which I think is a bit odd. I mean, I guess the garden had like evidence of creature being near there. But the lumberyard is nothing.
Alright, I'm gonna go around the lumberyard. May I borrow somebody's like... Well, I'll just find like a piece of wood or something. I'll just start like knocking on things, looking for hollow, double doors, hidden stuff, compartments.
Maximus, Granny, basically everyone but Corvus. Are you guys helping with this endeavor? What are you guys up to?
I think I'd help.
Okay.
Make it
Sure.
take a lot less long.
Nothing better to do.
Yeah, you guys are you're just like punching dirt. You're punching dirt. You're punching random logs. You're just kind of bonging and banging and swinging and swinging. And Corvus,
So true.
as you're punching with this ladder down into the earth, you hit a section of ground that sounds hollow.
Okay. Well, I'll notify the rest
Constitution saving throw.
quietly.
Yeah, after
I
you
like trying to
banged
make-
as hard as possible and made a loud hollow dong. Now you're being quiet.
No, I'm gonna keep banging, pretending like I didn't notice it, and then I'm gonna like notify everybody else, trying to do it quietly, so that everybody's like, I'll point to it. Everybody's like honed in on the place, and then I'll start uncovering it slowly.
Oh, it's not one place, by the way. As you're like trying not to make it obvious that you didn't find it, there is a entire section of Earth, like 20 feet by 20 feet by 10 feet across, that is all hollow.
In that case, I'll just go. I think I found something, guys. Fuck it.
All right,
They know we're here.
let's check it out.
Yeah, I mean, you guys
no,
can all
shovel time.
congregate. Yeah, it just does seem to be dirt, as far as you can tell.
We think they're down there.
Well,
Oh,
one way
wow.
to find out.
We're about to dig into another basilisk burrow, guys. Pog.
That would be pretty
Yeah.
fucking
Oh
sick.
god.
Also, I just said Pog and carrot. I'm gonna kill myself now.
That was not in character. That is not canon in Valorant.
No, I did not. Yeah, Pog is not canon, guys.
Pog
That
is
is
not canon.
happening. Over my dead body.
Alrighty, well, Zednius pulls out
Nice work.
shovels from the bag of holding, and who would like to do the honor of breaking ground?
Let's do it.
Okay, Maximus and Primius each grab a shovel. You sink it up, like down to the base of the blade. You pull up the dirt, and beneath you there is a burrow shaft. It looks very obviously made by something. It doesn't look like an animal because the tool marks are not like the claws of a basilisk or a badger or something like that. And as you do that, Maximus, as you reveal this opening, you can see a glint of 2 eyes and the glint of a tip of a crossbow bolt. And that is where we're going to end this week's session. We'll be back
Yep.
next time.
I forgot we're already late.
Didn't see that coming.
Why, how could you edge us like that?
You edged yourself by wasting time.
Allegedly.
Oh, man. Alrighty, well, I will see you guys whenever the next one is to resolve who those eyes are and what that crossbow bolt is. And I'll see you guys
for our
then.
next session?
We'll see. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Right.